Hey, this is my tutorial for the Quitouts category for Amnesia: The Dark Descent. So it's any percent quitouts instead of any percent no quitouts. So just hit start new game, normal, and yes. I'm not going to be as detailed as Proof is or was in his tutorial.
Don't forget.
But I'm still going to point out every trick and explain it in some level of detail, so you'll be able to get past it.
I live in London.
I recommend having the load remover, auto split, auto stop, etc. on. Open this door in the starting sequence here. Other than that, there's nothing to do really. You can just mess around. Yeah, so if you enable auto start and auto stop, also auto split, then everything is really seamless. You don't really have to do anything. It's an easy option in Lies, but if you're on the correct version and the correct version of the game, which is the latest version as of recording. So while you're laying on the floor, just hold D and Shift, and when Daniel looks towards the ceiling, you just add S to the inputs. This tutorial will be mostly beginner friendly, because this route, like this category, is more beginner friendly, way more beginner friendly than no quitouts. So I'm going to be covering a lot of easy strats, so don't expect this to be super difficult compared to like a hard storage or sewers route. If you want some harder strats, then you can just watch the world record video and try to do what they do, and just ask in the Discord for some tips. So at this part of the run, it's nice to have a good, like a big mouse pad or a really low sensitivity, so you can fight the camera. Otherwise you can just add like A into this, like that. So it's really important that you... Okay, so just hold M1, don't mash, but hold the button when you're going through loading doors. Like when you see the text start to rise up, you should just hold down the left mouse button. If you spam it, then the game might crash on some computers. That's a common issue. There's no need to spam click, just hold. I'm also going to point out some things like, it's kind of hard to see. I recommend watching this video in full screen. I guess right now it's really hard to see because my splits are in the way. The main reason I'm keeping my splits there, just like, I guess I'm gonna have it on the right side. I'll do this layout instead. The main reason I keep it there is so you can just see like the auto split thing. So if in the top left you can see a lot of info. It's kind of hard to see what you like to find things in this mess of text, but you can see health. It says 100 like in the middle somewhere. So that's one thing to, and that's one useful thing to look at. Of course, you can't use this during a run, but it's good for like testing. Same with sanity is close by. But the main thing I want you to focus on now is move speed. It's the second line from the top, and it says 2.514, and that's not particularly fast. And if you don't go into this room and like hit this point, if you just continue on this way, then your movement speed will never be able to reach its maximum speed. So it's really important that you go into this room and hit this trigger. I'm not even sure where it is. I guess yeah, it's this one. So like there's this huge trigger covering the entire room so you don't miss it. And when you hit this trigger, then the lantern will fall off the table right there. And after that's been done, like once you hit this trigger, then your movement speed can go higher. So now it's 3.16. It won't go up to the max in this area because we're still like in the early phases of the game. But make sure that you go into this room and you go about this spot where the pink cube starts, and you just turn around like this. If you lose your cursor, you can just press X on your keyboard to hide and show the cursor. It's pretty easy to accidentally hit X, so it will be without the cursor, and then it can be hard to pick up stuff. So just press X to enable it. So you just come over here, look all the way down, and then you turn around like that. Now for this clip, you want to clip like into this area. I mean, it's not super precise. There's a lot of angles that work. But I try to clip up here, like this line is what I try to clip in between, because this line separates like the two parts of the ceiling. So just spam jump, and then to get on top of this rock you need to do a jump crouch, so you jump and crouch. So you're crouched while you're in the air. And that allows you to get up into like small crevices high up like this. So I'm just going to disable this now. You'll see me using draw physics a lot. So once you're like on top of this rock, then you can just hold forward and spam jump. And it's important that you pop all the way through the ceiling. So do some extra jumps here to make sure you're properly out. And then you just go over here, jump, jump, and then you spam jump here. It's possible to get back boosted here, but it's not that likely. There's also like some texture here you can get stuck on. And then you can do like a little boost here if you want, but it can also send you away like that. F3 is a speed up cheat thing, so it's quite useful if you're practicing to get back into the game. There we go. So I'm going to be using quick save and quick load a lot to just explain things. Let's see if I can pull it off the way I want it to. Well, whatever. You can get a little boost there. And then just jump around here. And then you fall down and you click the door on your way. So whenever you load into a new area, the game auto-saves. So you don't need to save right now, but it's faster to hit Alt F4 than to hit escape and exit. You can navigate the menus by using the arrow keys on your keyboard. So here you can do like escape and then arrow key up twice or down twice to hit exit, and then just enter. And enter here will select yes. But it's actually faster to just hit Alt and F4. Alt F4 usually like closes an application completely, but for Amnesia, while you're in the game, you just hold Alt and then you add F4. You don't spam them, you just hold the Alt key and then you hit F4. And that will bring you to the main menu. It will also save the game. So it will save and bring, it will be the same as save and exit. And as soon as you load into this area, that's exactly what you do. And the reason why is because if you check out player start area 1, this is the player start area 1, which is right next to the door. And right here there is the goo, but you can't see it from this point. So you start facing this way. You're facing this way, which is like, there's not really a compass, but I guess, let's say this is north, so you're facing like east. So you're so close to click this door at the player start area 1. And when you first load into this map, you teleport to this spot for like a frame or something. And then you go back over there to the other start area, which is I think 4. Yeah. But the thing is, you can load warp to skip this room, and the way load warp works is that, like, really simple explain. If you hold down left mouse button during a loading screen, then you will interact. Or if you hold down like escape, then this is the first thing that will happen. So I can demonstrate it by just loading entrance hall here, and I'll just hold escape. So this is like the first frame, and then we have this loading into this area. But if you hold down M1, then you can interact with an object. And let's go to player start area 1, which is like, this is the spot where you actually start at when you load, but you can't see it, it happens so quickly. But you're looking in the wrong way, you're looking over here. But the thing that's weird is that if you save the game while looking a certain direction, like if I save the game here, well, let's go to the player start area 4. So if I look this way, I don't even have to stand, well, I can't interact with this door because I won't be there, but if I look this way and then I save, hold down Alt and hit F4, then load game and load this file, then hold M1 during the loading screen, I will interact in this direction, but not from where I am right now. It will be from this spot. So I will interact over here, but there's nothing here to interact with. So what that means is that if I look this way and do the same, then I can interact with this door. And since you start off by facing this direction, then you will click the door. So I'm going to do fly camera, so you can just see the door is in the same cardinal direction as the start point. It's like this wall, not this wall, or this, or this. So you're looking the correct cardinal direction to hit the door when you load into this area, which is this direction. The door itself is located like down there. So if I look down here, I'll demonstrate that. The door is somewhere over here, right? So if I look like this way, and then I Alt F4, and I load this file, and hold M1, nothing will happen. So even though I'm looking technically at the door, like the direction of the door, it's not directional directions. It's the cardinal direction. So it's north, west, south, east, like that sort of thing. It's either this way, that way, or that way. It's not like an in between. Like, oh, the door is like up here, so I look this way. It's just like a compass. So if I look in this general direction, the best thing is to imagine that the door is right in front of you, because in reality that's what it's going to be when you load in. So if I look this way, or that way, or that way, I'm still going to click the door because the door is so close to me. But it's looking towards the door in general as if I am located over here. So I can look this way, this way, etc. when I'm standing, when I'm standing, oh my god, 4 please, over here. And since this is the default way you're looking, then all you have to do is hold Alt, hit F4. I know you can't see this on my input display, but I'm just going to say when I do it. And then load game, and I recommend using the arrow keys, so it's a couple arrow keys down, enter, and then enter again. It will be the last save file, enter and enter, and just hold M1, holding left mouse button, and it will click the door. So that's how load warping works. So now that I've explained that in detail, I'm not going to explain it that much for the rest of the run.
It sure is dark in here.
Yes,
You can get some boosts by
for it.
landing on top of these rocks at a good position and good angle.
What's the reason for the darkness, that is?
But it's pretty hard because they're,
Be careful not to
especially like
stray.
this plank, you can get a boost off the plank or the goo,
Why is it so
but
dark?
they're so short, so it's really hard.
Attention,
Same
Daniel.
here.
It's important that you keep going straight.
I got stuck on
and
something
make
else
sure
here.
not to stray.
So you just run past the grunt, he will try to swing at you and miss. You just open the door, crouch, and then you're through. So for this clip, it's useful, for every clip it's useful to look at the draw physics debug. You want to clip in between this part of the ceiling and this part of the ceiling. So like exactly where this line is. And this line is slightly to the right of the middle. So you just get up here and you spam crouch and jump. I'll try to do it before the grunt gets me, because he destroyed the door. That can happen. He can, like, depending on where you encounter him, he can follow you and destroy the door and get in here. But if you close the first door, let's see, if you close that door and then go under here, then he will not follow you all the way. So just keep spamming jump and do some crouch spamming. You don't have to spam crouch as fast as you're spamming jump. But yeah, and then you can, like, as you're falling down, you can try to aim for this plank to not take fall damage. And then you can get a boost off of this thing too. It's kind of hard. And then here I like to look all the way down, turn around, and then I hold sprint and S, and as soon as my cursor goes beyond this door frame, then I can start holding forward. So that's a good visual cue for clicking the door. Here, don't go over here, just go straight forward to activate this trigger. And then you can start moving to the right. You always want to make sure that you're jumping when you're in the water, because your movement speed will decrease ever so slightly when you're in the water. And right there you can get a boost off of the side there like I did. Now this is one part of the run where it's recommended that you listen to the audio. You just throw this a bit ahead of him, and then you either see the red blood or you can just hear him make a noise. So here, just crouch while you're doing this so you get a little bit shorter. Make your way under. You don't need to close this door, because it takes a while for him to get over there. He sounds really close, but he actually spends a few seconds getting towards you. So there's no need to close it. I just wanted to close it down to stop and talk about it for a bit. So you pick up the needle, and then use it on the door. Now for this part, I recommend closing the door because it gives you more time. And it hardly loses time pretty quickly. So for this clip, you want to jump up on like the right side. You can see it's kind of bulging out a little bit right here. So like this line, that's where you want to... I'm actually going to lower the game volume just one more, because I feel like I'm not talking loud enough. I don't really talk that loud, so it's better this way. The part that's like bulging out, it's like this part. So not this left part, not this right part, but like this one. That gives me the most consistency. So you just stand here, and then you hold forward and you spam jump. And you land on top of this little seam, and it doesn't extend far, so you can easily fall out of bounds like this. And right there I got the boost on the left side. I boosted up this side. You can boost up like anywhere on this. Like you can easily get boosts going. It's just it's easier on the right side. Like right here. So when I get up high, I kind of like turn a little bit left, and I just like tap forward a bit to make sure that I land here and not back in bounds or beyond, like out of the map. And then you just hold forward here and start running. And then if you want to jump up here, you can hold W and A and jump like sideways, like that, over here, or you can just go all the way around and just boost up here. Oops. So there's a boost here you can do by jumping and landing on this, not the goo. I thought it was the goo for the longest time, but it's not the goo. It's kind of hard to see because we're out of bounds, but it's like this part of the ceiling that's bent. So when you land there, you can get a boost. So that was a little boost, but you can get a really big one if you time it right. So that right there, I usually go for like something like that, because if you do it too early, you'll still make it across, even though you don't get the boost. If you do it too late, then you can fall down here, and it can be a bit of a hassle to get back up here, because you either need to boost up this little plank, since a full jump can't really make it. Although right now it seems like it's pretty easy to just do a single jump. Oh, interesting. And like that, it looks like the game's trying to click me back in bounds. You can also like jump around like this, but it can be a bit scary because you can fall down. You can also go back. I think you can go around here, and then either boost up here, like that, or just, you know, go back to this spot. Just keep boosting, and then you can try again. So right there I got a small boost. I didn't even jump. So I'll try to go for the big one now. You can go even faster than that. That was like decent. Right there I try to like slow my momentum by spamming jump. Yeah, so this is what can happen if you jump too late. Anyway, so when you're falling back in bounds, it's like this spot, like right here you fall down. I try to hold D, so I like hug the right side, and then I also add jumps. So I jump against this wall as I'm falling down to slow down my speed, like slow down my fall speed. So for this one, I just go, it's like the, well I guess technically the third one, but like you go past this torch, jump up here, and then your goal is to boost up this railing and then on top of the pillar and then all the way up there. And I usually just go for it. Like I do this. Let's see. I'm making my way up the stairs. I just do a quick left turn and then I start to boost like that. And if I don't get it, then I just do the backup. But you can line this up with like a visual cue. But I don't really use it, so I keep forgetting how it looks like. But that's how you make the boost. So it's kind of weird. You boost up this thing, I guess, and then I suppose this part of the railing, and then you catch yourself on the pillar. It's actually possible to boost all the way up using, yeah, like right there, I only used the railing and I got a lot of boosts. I got really high up. It's possible to do it just here, but it's really difficult to make it all the way up, but it is possible. So you're kind of chaining boosts together, first the railing and then the edge of the pillar, I guess. So I just kind of go for it. Like there I almost fell down, like I almost didn't make it all the way up, but I saved myself by boosting on the top of the pillar here. Like I had a lot of speed going up, but then I didn't quite make it across. But I saved myself there because you can still get boosts going here. If you don't get it, then I guess this is what I usually do. I go for it, and then I don't get it, and then I just go here, boost in between the pillar and the railing here. I like to look up, and then I do a quick camera turn, land on top of this railing, and then click the door. So always hold the left mouse button during a loading screen because it will. I'll not do it on the next one so you can see the difference. So in this room you'll do a Loadwarp, which you will not do in no Quitouts. The carpet can push you a bit here. So you stand in between the candle and the pillar, and then you look around the edges of the tree while you're holding Sprint and A, and it will clip you through. And you do the same thing on the way back. Like this is the spot on the other side, so you're just next to this pillar, and then you look like over here. But anyway, well, I guess I'm explaining that, but we're not going to use it. So for no Quitouts, you would go back using the same technique like that, and then make your way to the door. But since this is the Quitouts category, then we don't need to do it on the way back. But by muscle memory, I started explaining it. So sometimes I like to throw that chair away. Get this rod. You can also do like a double lean glitch, so you don't do that clip. But it's a bit more advanced. Again, like this is a beginner's like easy tutorial. But what you can do is like a double lean glitch. So you lean into this wall and you click the rod from this side, and then you Loadwarp out. But for now we're just going to use this. Jump over that, toss the chair away, grab the rod, and then the door is located somewhere over in this cardinal direction. The door might be exactly over here or exactly over there, but that doesn't matter. You just like, it's this general direction. So again, we just hold Alt and hit F4 and let go of those two inputs. Arrow key down twice. Enter, 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 and enter. And then you hold the left mouse button when it says loading, and Daniel will click the door. So this happens if you don't hold left mouse button during a loading screen. You lose like 5 seconds at least. So to click doors faster, it can be useful to lean and look the other way. So if I'm leaning left, I want to look right, or if I'm leaning right, I want to look left. So here I'm going to lean right and kind of look a bit right to click the door as fast as possible. So I like to jump into this flashback trigger and then toss that drawer away, kind of blindly, like that, and then you open the middle one a little bit and pick up the laudanum. And then you jump here, so you're in between the bookshelf and the wall, and you look a little bit left of the wall, like that, so you pop through. And then do not click the painting, because that can activate a flashback trigger, this thing. So just click the bile, you hold it, and then you don't need a lot of force. I don't recommend right clicking, because then that happens. So you just pick it up and you just smack it left or right or down. I prefer down, so I just do like that, and then I open it. Alright, grab it. So click it. You don't need a lot of force, so you can just experiment to see how much you need. If you do too much, then the key might go flying, and you can have the key go out of bounds. I think it's possible to send it completely out of bounds, but I may be wrong about that. Anyway, there's no point in using more force than needed, so just do that and pick it up. I usually go a little bit left, I think, so the top part, the cork, I think, of the bottle doesn't block my grab range. Pick it up, and then for no Quittout, you would run out here and click the door. But for Quitouts, the door is over there, but this is the cardinal direction of the door. This is a diagonal direction, so we don't want to do that, we just want to look straight. So straight this way, straight that way, straight that way, or straight that way. So since the door is on this wall, then it's straight this way towards the painting. So you get the key, and then you do Alt F4, and you actually don't need to look up to the center of the screen. You can just, since the door will be so close to you, you can just pick up the key. Let's see, let's do it like that, and then Loadwarp. And there you go. Simple as that. So here you can do a boost on the eagle wing. You can make it across there. You can also get a boost on the stairs, but it's pretty hard. So this is where you have like 2 or 3 different routes you can choose. I'm gonna use the safest and fastest one, like both safe and fast. So I recommend closing this door so you have more time for this trick coming up. If you want to, you can remove this rug. I sometimes like to do that, even though it doesn't actually affect the trick, it's just kind of annoying. I definitely prefer moving this box up here into this shelf before you click the drill, so you can set the box up exactly how you want it to be. It only needs to poke out. I think this is fine. You can stand on top of the box still, but it's nice to have some leeway, so just have the box be poking out a little bit. And then you click the drill piece, you jump on top of the box, you don't need to do sprint. And now to get on top of this shelf, I'm going to show you without the drill piece because I don't want the monster to come. So to get on top of this shelf, you need to hold forward. You don't sprint, because when you're sprinting, then you cancel crouch. So if you're crouching and then you start sprinting, you immediately go out of crouch. And the whole point of this trick now is to do a jump crouch, because you can crouch in the air. So now I'm going to jump and then crouch. So you can see how, you can just look at my cursor. This is a normal jump, where Daniel is standing, and now it's a jump crouch, and he went down a bit. So you want to do a jump crouch, which is jumping and then crouching immediately after. And the timing can be a little bit tricky, but once you get used to it, it's really easy. It's kind of like ISG in Zelda speedrunning, if you're familiar with that, or like Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask. So it's not frame perfect though, that's the good thing. Or it might be actually, I'm not even sure. If it doesn't feel frame perfect in a 60 FPS game, otherwise it would have been more difficult probably. So you just hold forward and then do a jump crouch. I don't recommend spamming. It can work, but this is what will usually happen. And while you're trying to jump up here like a Pega, then this guy will definitely hit you. He can definitely catch up to you if you don't get up on top of this shelf quick enough. Because he can hit you if you're standing here, I think, but definitely not if you're on top of the shelf. He won't be able to reach you. And from this point, I'm just going to reload because of sanity. So now you want to, I mean, there's a couple of ways you can do this whole out of bounds trick. I find this to be the easiest. Here I hold shift, like I hold sprint, and I hold forward, and my goal is to run towards this post on the right side of it, and then as I'm running towards it, I'm gonna spam jump, and what will happen is I'll jump on top of this post thing while I'm crouched really close to the ceiling, and I'll jump from on top of the post and I'll pop me through the ceiling. And as I'm doing that, I'll turn the camera, otherwise I'm gonna fall down there. So if I don't turn my camera, I'm just gonna fall down. But if I do turn my camera on, I'm just gonna save here and I'll pick up the drill later. So if I do turn my camera, then I'm fine. If I forget to turn my camera, then I'll just jump to my demise. So what I like to do is just kind of go left and right a bit like that. Because if you go too far out, then you'll fall back down. So if the angle is really sharp like that, then you'll miss the post. Like right there, I turned the camera pretty late, but I still saved myself. So the goal is to not look so far right, but look really close to the pillar. So that was a good example where my angle was really far left, and I still managed to do the glitch. Like I was like just running at this post, and I kept jumping, nothing happened. But eventually I would reach the point where I would go off this shelf that I'm standing on and jump on top of this one. So if I keep missing it, then I can just keep retrying. You have a lot of time to retry until the guy gets you, especially if you close the door. If you close the door, there's a chance he might not even come in here. I think no, he will come in here for sure. But if you do the clip fast enough, then he will ignore you once you're on top of the ceiling. So I'll just pick up the drill piece now. And I missed it. There's plenty of time to reattempt it. I'm not really jumping fast enough now. There we go. Yeah, it looks like he completely ignored me. So this is a flashback you can hear, I think, so make sure that you move closer to, like you boost up from this side, not all the way there. And then here you can do a boost on the side here. And you just want to go straight across. There's nothing that can hurt you here. And then you look towards this thing, you want to either jump off here or here, but since you're over here, this is faster, you just jump over here. There's a gap here. You can always check this out with draw physics. So it's a bit laggy right now because it's trying to load a lot of things. But you can see this line that I'm looking at right now, that's the one I'm standing on top of. So it stops after this point. So I'll start to fall now. There we go. And if you fall down, it's not good because you might not be able to make it back up. That counts for all of storage. Certain areas you might be screwed. But yeah, you just jump from this floor to that floor, and it's really easy. You just need to know when to jump. And you can jump really early or really late, it's fine. And once I land here, I look towards this little thing. And if I keep my cursor at it the whole time, I will not hit the flashback trigger, because there is a flashback trigger that you can hit here. And it's in this room. It's kind of hard to see because there's a lot of wireframe to look at, but it's a box right here, like a huge rectangle box inside this room. And if you hit it, then you start a cutscene. So what you want to do is move around it like this. And then I'm going to keep using draw physics for a bit here, but you can stand here and here, but here the floor will disappear. I'll try to show it off. You know, it's kind of lagging. I'm not sure how far it goes. I don't think you can see it really, but you cannot stand here. So what you do is you jump onto this spot, and then from here you jump there and then around. So I'm going to show it without physics because I like the wireframe, because it's kind of hard to see. So you cannot stand here, so you jump here. And now I guess you're like standing on top of this wall. But you can also just stand on top of this plank right here, which is what we're going to do here. Maybe you can actually stand... Okay, so you can stand here, never mind, you can stand here, but you can't stand here. So this is where you want to jump on top of this plank. So I like to jump over here, and then jump around, land on this thing, and then jump around once more. It's a little bit tricky, but... because you're not standing on much, if you just tap right a bit, you'll fall down. But it's not that hard to stand on it. I like to let go of some buttons, I think, when I land there. And then from here on you can move slowly or just keep running, and you jump around this thing too. Like that. So I'll try to do it in one go. So like that. If you don't go right quick, like if you do this too quick, then you fall down like that. If you look to the left too quickly. And the same thing applies looking to the right. If you look to the right too quickly, or too slowly, then you'll fall down here. So just practice this jump a little bit. And you're actually airborne for quite some time, so it's not that bad to do that. And from here on, you can do some. There are some more options. You can like go up here. There's actually a nice variation of strats you can do, like routes, I guess, in storage from this point on. The easiest one is just to run towards the wall there. I never get to clip that quickly. So I usually just like flick left and hope I clip. Otherwise, there's a visual cue. You can look at this part of the wall, this part of the plank, and then look kind of towards these two boxes. And then when you clip through, you try to land on top of the barrel. So kind of like that. And if you don't land on the barrel, you'll take damage. I think it's like 10 damage. If you're using quick save and quick load, like I am right now, using F4 and F5, then if you quick save and then immediately quick load after, then you won't take fall damage. But to fix that glitch, you can just hit exit and then load the last save, and then you can keep using F5 to load as long as you don't quick save. Then you will still be able to take fall damage, so you can practice realistically. Well, I guess I lost that save now, but same visual cue, and as soon as you pop through, you try to land on this barrel. And then I'll always try to jump into flashback triggers so you get more speed. And here you can like jump into the corner and like have the torch boost you and stuff. And then, oh, my sanity is really low because I've been standing in the dark too long trying to explain stuff, but I think it will go up when I grab these two rods. So I recommend grabbing the blue rod first, because it will make inventory management easier later on in the run. So grab these two. Oh, it's still... okay, it's better. And then you grab the box, and then you place the box here. Now, I'm gonna just make sure I have a save here. Okay, so this cogwheel, you can knock this cogwheel down. And if you do, then there's really no backup. Of course, it's kind of difficult for me to show it off now, but if you just try to place this box into the corner pretty violently, like you slam it down, it's possible to bend this cogwheel, like have it flip over. But you want to just place the box somewhere in the corner, and then you go up here, you boost up the cogwheel, which is easier said than done apparently. Hello. Okay. And then from here you can make adjustments and have it be right up against these two walls. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to not be like rotated as much as it was. And then you jump crouch, and then you just hold sprint and you spam jump and hold S. So it's actually pretty simple. You can also fix the box by like ramming it against the wall and having it slide down. Like zoom out. Like that. So forward and jump crouch. Now you're on top of the box. Hold sprint, spam jump, and hold S. And you'll just pop through instantly. Now you jump over here. This is also a pretty simple jump. The floor extends out of bounds a little bit, so it's not just here, you're landing like here. The floor goes a little bit further. So I'm standing on this invisible floor and not this thing. And for the next jump, you want to make it over there, and it's sort of hard because, yeah, I want to make sure that I remove physics, otherwise I get like 10 FPS or 5. Well, a great angle to place the box in for my save. Whoa. Okay, so here you fall down immediately after you go past the wall. You want to jump over here, and there's a huge invisible floor you can jump onto there. But that jump is like 10 damage, and you want to avoid damage as much as possible. So what you can do is jump really late. That was early. That was early. You can see it by like how high up you jump. You can compare it to the cursor and like the bottom part of the screen. Or I guess this part, as you go past this wall. There, that was a short jump. It's kind of hard to spot at first. There as well, that was good. But if you do those short jumps, then you won't take full damage. But the thing is, in order to do those jumps, you need to jump so late that you're barely jumping too late. So it's possible to jump so late that you don't jump at all, and you just fall down, like there, and then it will fall out of the map. But if you jump too early, then it'll take damage. So it's like, you can be safe and jump as soon as you go past this, and then here you will take damage because that was a high jump, and then you can just take an extra laudanum later, or you can practice this timing by jumping and doing short jumps, which I recommend, of course. But if it's really hard to do, if you don't find much consistency, then you can jump early to make sure that you make the jump, and then just grab some extra laudanum. I always grab a lot of extra anyway, just because I mess up. Same visual cue here, this thing, and then when you run up against this thing, you want to look in this little corner, and we're like slightly left of it. And for the no quitouts, you would get this thing, like this drill piece, and then this drill piece, and then move out. But since we're gonna load warp, we're gonna get this one first. And then when you get into this room, you'll get like an insanity trigger. Like I got flies, so you can also get the screen going red, voice lines, etc. And now you grab this drill piece, and now you want to look in, like in the cardinal direction of the door, towards the cardinal direction of the door, which is this way. So if you try to like think, okay, it's up that way, and then it's left, and then it's left once more. So it's kind of hard to know where the door is at all times, but if you just remember, pick up the drill piece and look right, then look into like, get a muscle memory of looking at this part of the, like looking to the right after picking up the drill, then you're good. So just pick it up, look right, and then Alt F4, hold M1 or left mouse button during loading, and there you go. That door is really heavy to open. There are some doors that are like weird. So here, you can open this door by hitting a trigger right here. So it's this huge thing right here. Again, it can be kind of hard to see because there's so many wireframes in this room, or like so much wireframe. But it's this huge rectangle. Again, I recommend watching this video in full screen, and definitely in 1080p if you can. So once you hit that, the camera will turn right and the door will open. It's slightly faster than opening the door yourself, because this door is also kind of heavy. So you can like do a jump to hit the top of the door frame, and you can get a small boost. There are also like some small boosts, like carpet boosts, and like boosts, like hitting that to get a boost. And it's really hard to hit. So if you click this door, like you use the key, now the door is unlocked. If you click on the door when he says Inner Sanctum, then you can save some time on this flashback, because the next part of the dialogue will play during the loading screen. If you click too early, then it won't.
Will it take us to the inner sanctum?
So when I hear the Eye of Inner, then I click. And Alexander will speak during the loading zone.
Yes, the Colosseum at Regent's Park has one. It takes you to the gallery.
So here just go from right to left, you go up, down, up, down, up, and then it will say the flow is even instead. So you don't do the last one, you just wait until you see that text. From right to left, and then you alternate between up and down. So here just jump on top of this to save some time moving around here. Now this is where it comes in handy that we clicked the rods in a specific order earlier on. So this is the first rod we picked up, and it's the first rod here. We picked up the blue one and then the red one, and the blue one goes here and the red one goes there. So that's why I picked up the blue one first instead of the red one. But they're lined up to pick up red and then blue in storage. So I purposely pick up blue first and then red, so it's like bum 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 in the menu, or yeah, in the inventory. So you can look at my movement speed in the top left corner. Right now it says 3.45, and if I let go of this thing, it will be 4.25. I also forgot to mention the max speed earlier. So in archives, or old archives, I guess. Yeah, in old archives, it was 3.16, even after hitting the lantern trigger. And I said in the next room it will go up to be like the default max speed, like an entrance hall. But I forgot to show it off. So 4.25 is the default max speed. And if you pick up a heavy object, like this cogwheel, then it will go down to 3.45. So in order to get your speed back up and still carry this thing along with you, you can do like some small flicks, like this. But you can only do it there, really. Like from this point I'm gonna get 2 cogs, then you gotta like... You can still do like this and juggle them a bit, but it's pretty hard to juggle well. So you just want to toss them over this pipe. And then for this one, I just get in this corner. I like this I hit this like wall between, like, I hit the box in here, and then I can barely reach this, and I just fling it around like this, and look high up and throw it, and it'll go past there. I don't even move, so that's a little tip on how to get that thing across. Now these pieces of coal can be tricky to find. You don't lose movement speed when you're carrying small objects. As you can see, it's still 4.25 with while I'm carrying this piece of coal. So you don't need to toss this one. You can just keep the last one in your hands while you're running towards it. And then you place all 3 inside. It might be useful to let go of sprint and crouch to pick up some of the objects if you're like a bit far away. So you just check them in. And as soon as you see this message, then you're good. You don't have to close the lid, and you don't have to use the lever or the lever. So this one, I think, was that one. And then if you toss them in a good order, then you know, like, okay, this one goes into here, and this one goes into here. It's possible to attempt to place the cogs on the wrong spot, and they can go out of bounds. So be a bit careful with that. Like, the more force you use in an HPL game, the worse. Like, if you use a lot of force, then objects can just get stuck out of bounds. Like, if I kept going a little bit, I'm sure this box could have been tossed like through the wall. So be careful that you don't lose the cogs like that. So after I pull this this lever, or lever, whatever. I said lever, but I started saying lever recently. You look towards the cardinal direction of the door, which is this way. I just wanted to regain some sanity. So you just look this way. You pull it, pull the lever, and look this way. Alt F4. And yeah. So one thing I forgot to mention earlier on is that this run is, like, this category is done on the latest Steam, the latest version of the game, but it's not Steam version, it's Amnesia no Steam. So when you get the game on Steam, you get 2 exe files, or like at least you get one called Launcher as well. But you get Amnesia and Amnesia no Steam. With Amnesia no Steam, you can launch it without having Steam open. And the consistency of these Loadwarps are only present on the no Steam version. So make sure that you open Amnesia no Steam and not Amnesia, or through Steam. So there's also like a hard strat you can do here to skip this flashback, but it's not really beginner friendly, so I'm just gonna go through it sort of normally. Now I'm gonna save so I can do this while the flashback is playing. So to remove this beam, this is a heavy object, so you need to hold, like, using your mouse won't really do anything. But you need to hold WSD to move it around. That's like the rule with really heavy objects. So you click it and then you hold A and S to, like, move it out of the way. Oh no, I just saved. Anyway, it's no big deal. And then from here, I also like to crouch and then remove this rock a little bit out of the way, and then open the gate. Otherwise, you open the gate like this, and you might not be able to fit through because the rock is in the way.
Very much so. Come, don't linger.
And then you grab this rock, and you just keep holding it, and then you do W and A if you're looking in this direction. Because this, it's not the flashback, but it's this thing that's happening right now. Like you hear the sound in the background with this guy saying no, and there's a monster scream. That sequence slows you down, not the flashback. Well, the flashback does it as well, but that sequence slows you down significantly. But if you hold a heavy object like that, oh, I had a trigger there. The center is gonna go down a bit. Then you can get more speed. So you pick up the hammer, and I guess I'm not sure if I might as well show off both strats. But I'm actually gonna make sure that I didn't accidentally hit a bad trigger. But I can just do F3 to speed it up. So it's like here. Okay, so I'm gonna show off the easy strat first. I'm gonna get close to the grunt on purpose, and then he will miss. I'll grab the chair, throw it at him, he'll get stunned. I'm gonna open the door, I'm just gonna run straight in and grab the chipper. And if you're fast enough, then he won't even make it around the corner. And then you can just make it over to this room. Open the door, no need to close it. Move the bed out of the way. You hold it and then you hit A, but then you also add right click to boost it away, like to give it a push. And then you use the chipper. You either use the hammer or the chipper on this. But the fast strat is to do the same as before. You stun the grunt with the chair, but you don't hit the flashback trigger. So like that, and then you hold this door and you close it. I'm gonna explain that later. Get into this corner. You lean at left and tap forward until you pick up the chipper without actually hitting the flashback. And then making this room. The grunt will be pretty close to you, so you'll hear him being right behind you this whole time. But as long as you do that sequence fast enough, then he won't be able to hit you. And if you do it this way, you'll only hit one flashback trigger, and that's in this room, which is mandatory. And okay, so when you're throwing the chair, it might be like just slide off of the grunt, and it's just RNG. But make sure that you turn to the right when you're throwing it at the grunt. Okay, so I'm actually going to hit this trigger on purpose to get rid of the grunt. So when you're clicking this door with that strat, you hold the door, you open it, you move. Let's see. You move into the room. Oh my god, this is hard. When I'm not running. There we go. And now you're moving your mouse forward again. So you're closing the door behind you. So you're moving into the room, and you keep holding the door, and as soon as you make it into the room, you shut the door behind you. So it's kind of as if you were in real life, opening the door with one hand, and then you go inside and you switch hands to from your left hand to your right hand, and you just shut the door behind you. It's sort of like that. And what that does is that it keeps the monster away for a bit longer. You can go into this corner, not this corner, but just like a little bit over here, and then you crouch, hold Q, and then you tap forward at the bottom right corner of the chipper until you see a hand, and you can click it without hitting this trigger. And then if the grunt is hitting the door, then you may be able to open it while he's destroying it. But if you're fast enough, then he'll just be somewhere around here, and you just run past him and he will miss you. Like you run past him and jumping usually helps. It's not mandatory, but it helps. And then you're fine. As soon as you hit a flashback, you're invincible from enemies. So here you just spam. You can also you stand on top of this hole, so you fall down, and you also click it. Because you either need to click it or fall down. So it's like a double safety where you both fall down and physically hit the trigger, but also click it. So I'm just gonna speed up this part. So to remove these rocks efficiently, what you want to do is toss this one away without touching any of the other rocks. Pull this one straight up, toss it away, and then the rest is, this is a heavy one, so you gotta move your keys. So do it in that order. There's a hard clip you can do here. Or like the clip isn't that hard, but the floor, there's no floor to stand on, so if you lose your boosts then you void out. Slightly faster, but again, beginner friendly tutorial, so just boost on top of this rock. I have detailed tutorials on most of the big skips, so I have one on this for instance, so if I don't explain it super well then I'll just leave a link to it in the description. But you boost up this, and then here you jump crouch to get up of this rock. Get in this little corner, you look somewhere over here, and you hold sprint forward and spam jump, and you'll pop through. And that technique works for every single entity of rocks, like that, like these rocks, because this is reused several points in the run, like in the game. So you'll look at this and you'll see something. You'll see a familiar rock structure, and you'll know that, oh, if I get on top of this rock and look this way, then I can clip exactly like this every single time. Because it's the same entity, like the same. Well, I guess not an entity, because entities are interactable, but whatever. Same, like it's same object. So here it's easy to actually get a boost. Like if you jump over from here to here, and you jumped a bit too early, you hit this thing and you fall down here. So same goes with, yeah, like oops, like what happened there, a big oops. You can like hit this thing and get boosted both in and out. So here this can boost you out. So just make sure that you jump far in. And you can just hold forward, but do note that this plank will try to push a bit, so it can be a bit weird right here. And then you can move from this point to this, or I guess, yeah, like this point to this, but it's kind of weird because you can get boosted out, so I just prefer to void out and click the door in my way. But it is possible to land right there, but this thing extends really far out, so it's kind of hard. Also you take fall damage, so it's not recommended. So it's best to just fall down and click the door and avoid that floor. Now this thing, this skip, it's recommended to not move your mouse. This setup is really good and really consistent. It's kind of hard to boost while not moving your mouse. So I guess for this point in the run it's better to have a heavy mouse. But anyway, I'm going to reload just in case. So just a small movement can mess this up, but you can also just realign yourself quite easily. So you look at the bottom of the screen and you can see these floor tiles. So you just choose one horizontal line. So like this is a line that stretches from here all the way over to the other side of the room. So you look at the lines like that, and you want the line ahead of me to be at the bottom of your screen. So that line. And it's the line right before this pipe thing begins. So it's not this line that intersects with it, but the one before. So you just press W to line it up, and it's not that precise. Like this works, that works, that works. So it's not that big of a deal. And then see, I'm doing like small mouse adjustments, and I don't want to. I just kind of like want a new grip on my mouse. If you do some slight adjustments, then as long as you look at the center of this pillar, then you should be fine. Now you want to hold sprint and A, and as soon as your cursor interacts with, like as soon as your cursor goes above this thing, then you want to start boosting. And you'll boost on top of this pipe. But this boost is a bit tricky. Like the setup is really good, but you can boost like for too long and you will overshoot this. So it's kind of tricky to stop yourself from going too fast, like too far. That's the only thing you're going to be careful about. So as long as you follow that setup, it's going to be really easy to get the boost. It's just a matter of stopping at the correct point. And then the same thing in storage. If you jump off of this pipe really late, you will not take fall damage when you land here. But if you jump early, you will. Like, now I will not, because I did the F4 and F5. So to fix it, you just go into here and load this, load it through the main menu. And now you can see that I will take damage. And if I hit F5 to retry this, I keep taking fall damage. But if I hit F4 and then F5, then I will not take damage. So let's say I do it too early. Uh-oh, I did it too early. So then I just go back. I don't move the mouse, I just keep aligning myself here. Let's say I do it too late. Oh, too late. If you get a forward boost like that, if you land on this, then that's GG. This flashback is a bit long, which is why it's good to skip. Also, this flashback makes this boost pretty difficult. Not impossible by any means, just more difficult than it needs to be, because your movement speed is now 2.13 as opposed to 4.25, as you can see now in the top left corner. I guess it might not be that easy to see, because when I'm doing this with the camera, the bitrate is heavily affected. But yeah, you line it up, look at the cursor, oops, and as soon as you reach that point, you start boosting, and you try to not go too far left. And then the goal is to jump late, so you don't take damage. Took damage. Now I'm not gonna take damage because I used the F4, F5 thing. But there, that was a short hop. Because the trigger is, let's see, let's find it. It's this wall right here, I think. Kind of hard to see from. Yeah, okay. So it begins here and it stretches all the way over here. This huge rectangle. So you want to do a late jump if possible. If not, then you can just get extra potions if you have trouble with the late jump. Because if you don't jump at all, then you will hit the trigger. So again, it's like that risk factor. Do you want to risk taking damage, or do you want to risk hitting the trigger? Same in storage. Do you want to risk taking damage, or do you want to risk falling off the map? Of course, practice makes perfect, and I recommend everybody to go for the short hop. But if you're just not nailing it, then just jump early and take an extra potion. It's no big deal. It's way better than falling off the map or hitting a trigger. Again, like, hitting this flashback is way slower than having slower movement speed because you took more damage than you were supposed to. So you gotta weigh the possibilities. What's worse? What's the worst thing that can happen? But keep practicing, because you'll use that sort of jump a few times in the run. So for this boost is really weird. So you're boosting up this thing, possibly even this thing right here. It's like the top of this thing, and then as you get a lot of height, then you turn right and you land on top of this small little crevice, or like little ledge. And if you land on top of it, then you're safe. Then if you can safely boost from here to here, like you don't have to, you won't fall down from here easily. I mean, it is a really small ledge, but you will be fine once you make it up there. So I recommend to look a little bit left, and then turn right, and you will land on top of this ledge. And from here on, you're safe. You can move left and right a little bit without falling off. And then you just get in this little corner and you boost up here. So it's not like this boost is not bad at all. I guess you can get a backward boost, but yeah, that boost is really simple. You just look into the corner and hold forward and boost, and you'll get it really quickly. But the boost to get up there is kind of tricky. And the thing is, you'll get so much height that if you fall down here, then you will take a lot of damage. And that definitely sucks. So it's recommended to turn the camera really quickly. And this boost is really hard on console, because there's a limited speed of turning the camera. It's definitely possible, but it's not as easy as PC for sure. I had a lot of trouble doing this on Switch consistently. So yeah, just keep practicing that. You want to look like here, and you want to chain these boosts together, so you want to spam it really fast. So for Morgue, there's like a couple different strats. You can jump into this pillar, like the left side of it, and clip through. So it's like this part of the pillar. You'll clip through that and then turn. Otherwise, you'll fall down here. It's the same clip, but it's just if you get into this corner and you look at this candle, it's the same as that candle. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a candle like that right here. If you look in this general direction and you hold sprint and S, you only need to do 1 or 2. Usually 2 jumps, and it'll pop through. So that was 1. So it's like either 1 or 2. You get into this corner, just like tap W a little bit to make sure you're all the way in the corner. You look towards here, hold sprint, hold S, and as soon as you start holding S, I mean you can keep holding S like this, and it won't really matter. But you just S and then you jump. And as soon as you notice something weird, like you see this line or that door, you let go. Otherwise, you're gonna keep moving backwards. So that's a pretty easy way to clip out. Sometimes it takes a few jumps, but it's a pretty simple setup. Other than that, you can just do this thing. It's really easy. Like, this clip is not hard at all. The game wants you to go out of bounds in Morgue. But if you say it's easy, then it doesn't work. Okay. But yeah, I mostly do the setup, as you can tell by my consistency at doing this. So candle, backwards and jump. And then this is kind of tricky. This boost, I don't really get this boost. What Terra does, which I think is really good, is that he just shakes the camera a lot. And that helps because Daniel will try to grab this wall and door frame, and he will use as much as possible to his advantage. Because you can like use this corner, but like that corner as well. Possibly in the door frame. Yeah, for sure. So you can like get into this corner and boost. But I don't find it to be that consistent. You can get into this little thing and boost. You can also boost on the outside here, like that. The risk of doing that, though, is you can hit the flashback trigger, which is not far in. Yeah, right there. So you can also boost here, but the door frame kind of pushes you out of the way. I don't really have a consistent, like, this corner, that corner, that corner, or all like 3 work just the same, really. So what I recommend doing is maybe just doing like a spam like this. I like to hold W and A, so you can like do like that. But I'm not really good at this boost. So you can do that boost like going around, but again, I don't really go for this, so my consistency is not good. I'm glad I got it first try earlier. Okay, there we go. Or the door frame method. The door frame method will like easily boost you up, but like just barely, not enough. Most of the time it seems like. Nah, it's kind of weird. You can just like choose whatever you want. It's some people get this instantly, some people don't. It's whatever. There's no floor here, but there is here, like where you can see these beams go. Now this thing, like this part of the room, or the area, you can clip back and bounce really easily by running towards this door frame. And you get this flashback, and you gotta go all the way around. You can also clip back and bounce in like at the top here, like into this corner. I can't remember exactly how it is, but you can like clip in so you are like, so you clip into here, and then you're stuck up there, kind of. Well, you can jump down obviously, but you kind of end up there. Even if you don't hold sprint. So like the goal is to drop down and hug. You do want to hug the door frame to avoid taking fall damage, but door frames in this game, they want you back in bounds. So if you walk towards the door frame, especially run, then you'll clip back in bounds really easily. Let's see. Of course I can't show it off now, but maybe jumping helps a little bit. But I swear you can just hold forward without jumping, and if your angle is good enough, or I guess worse enough, like bad enough, then it will suck you in bounds, like that. So, because if you hold sprint and towards the like sprint as you're falling down, then you increase the risk of getting clipped back in bounds like that. That was exactly what I was trying to show off. So you don't want to hold sprint. You want to just let go sprint at this point and do that. But you don't want to be too far away from the door, because that would have been fall damage. So you want to be close to it. But it's kind of hard, and if you go too far right, like if you turn too quickly, then you won't drop down. So it's a bit tricky to fall down here without taking fall damage, and also without falling, like popping back in bounds. So definitely make a save here and just practice doing like this. But I mean, try to save, exit. I guess you can do Alt F4, and then you load the file, and then you practice with only F5. So that was not fall damage, but if I just go down like this, that's fall damage. So now you can see if you do it correctly or not. It's actually not that bad when it comes to slowing down your fall, because it's not, I guess it's not the door frame, but it is like this wall right here that will help you slow down, or like this wall that appears before the door frame. So you want to make sure that you see, I almost clipped back in bounds there, and I didn't even hold sprint. But yeah, you do that to fall down without taking fall damage, and then here I recommend jumping around, because I don't think it's possible to move without, okay, it's barely possible, but like this wall, you can see you don't have much space to walk on, so it's recommended to jump around the corner. So do a jump like that. It's not that bad of a jump. You'll see worse jumps in Nave 1. I'm just kidding. So you jump around the wall there in the corner, you grab the potion and the copper tube. This is like the most free potion to grab, you'll definitely get that one. Now with this clip, you just jump on top of this, and then you want to clip back in bounds in between here. And this one is so stupid. Sometimes it's really easy, other times you'll fall out of bounds. So you look towards his foot, like either left or right foot. Some people have increased consistency with left foot, some have right foot. Some use this or that bookshelf, like that shelf or that bookshelf. I've had it work when I'm boosting in this direction. Sometimes this was instant, other times like now it's not. But the foot seems to be like the best visual cue, like that. What can happen is that as you're trying to do this boost, like that was right foot, as you're trying to do this boost, you can actually get kind of clipped over here, and then you'll fall down. So it is a little bit scary, but it's, you know, it's pretty much the only way to get back in bounds. Although I found a method on Switch, because this was patched on the Switch version. I was testing some console strats, and I could boost up this thing. Yeah, so this works on PC too, as I imagined. And then from here you can clip in here probably, because you could do this on console, and I imagine this is possible on PC too. But console does have some clips that PC don't, and this might be one of them. So I've never tried this before on PC. Because of, yeah, okay, there we go. I imagine it would be the same for this type of clip. So that is way safer than that, because there's no risk of falling out of bounds. Because if you go past here, there's no floor to stand on, you'll fall. Like you're trying to boost, and then it'll just pop like that. It's pretty rare though, but it can happen. But I guess if you're scared of that, you can boost up this thing like I just did. Let's see. My scroll wheel gets louder and louder. Come on. There we go. And then you can possibly even clip down here. I clip through here. I imagine this is possible, because door frames like to push you back in bounds. I haven't messed around in this room much. I just realized that you can fall down here, and then from here on you can clip through this pillar. I guess it's like this part of the wall. There we go. Like in between that part and that part of the pillar, like this little corner. So I guess that's it's a bit slower though, because you go around. I mean, optimally you clip in here and you just use the drill, and then use the copper tube on the hollow needle. You drill him, and then use this, and you'd like right next to him when you pop in. But here is an extra laudanum, So if you clip through here, then I mean, if you're gonna go over here anyway, then I guess this is not that bad. Copper tube, click it, look towards the door. This Loadwarp does not save as much. In no Quitouts, you will open the door quickly and move out of the way quickly, otherwise the monster would spawn. But for yeah, the monster is right there instantly. So that's why you open the door and run out quickly, otherwise the monster is going to be there. If you're too slow, then that trigger is going to play. But if you do it quick enough, then you'll skip him entirely. But if you go back in the room, he'll be there, of course. So for Quitouts, you just do Alt F4 when you're looking towards the door. Don't do it too quickly, because you might get a camera lock, so just wait until the camera is a bit normal. So like, it takes like a second. And then you just load that save you just made and hold M1. Now, there are two ways you can do this. I'm gonna show both, but I think it's not that bad to go for this one if you have some good cues. So there's like it's not really possible to make a setup for this, but I've tried for many hours. You can just look. The best thing I figured out was to look down, like to not move, look all the way down, and then line your cursor up with like this blue line. And I think it was this part and not that part, but this difference is so small that it doesn't matter. It's just good to have an angle that's good enough, and like this and this, like these, like the angle from here to here is good enough. So I'm gonna attempt this one first. So you just hold sprint and W and A at the same time, and then when you get to this part, you just alternate between W and P, and eventually you'll pop through. So the way this works is that of course the game crashed, and that's that. So I guess it's a good time to talk about that. So the game can crash if you use F4 and F5 in the wrong way. So let me load up the game again. There are certain rooms of the game where if you use F4 and F5, it will crash. Some are guaranteed, some are like a bit like inconsistent. The way to prevent this while you're practicing is to make a normal save. So you go back to the menu, you can do Alt F4, and then you either hit continue or load game. At this point you can just hit continue, which is just, you know, spamming enter. But if you do F4 and then F5 right after, like if you don't go back to the main menu, then you can get crashes. So the way this works is that the wall separates like here. It's kind of hard to see, but this wall goes all the way. Let's see how far it goes until the angle changes. So here there's an angle change. If you have high graphic settings, you might not be able to see this all that clearly. And there's an angle change right here. And the angle change in the the two walls here is different enough, like it's big enough of a difference that it can fit in between here. And there's another angle change right here between this wall and that wall. And the clip works in between this wall and that wall. So it's kind of, I mean, you can look at some visual cues on the wall. Like here there's like a Tetris block, a black Tetris block, and that is in between the two walls. Or you can look down here and find a visual cue. I can see that the wall stops here and begins here. And you clip in between here. Like you clip in here. So it's not exactly in the middle, but it's very close to it. And you can just hold sprint and W and move your camera like this. And you can see that Daniel sort of gives after the wall. He's sort of he's attempting to clip through. But the angle is very precise, and Daniel has random movement patterns. So there's no consistent way of doing this, at least as of recording, unfortunately. So you can keep going like this. I mean, it doesn't matter if your camera is down or up, it can still work with up. It's just really hard to see. So most people look all the way down, so it's easier to see the clip spot. You can also look straight if you want. But what I found to be the easiest is to use the setup where I just look at this spot without moving, and then I just I let go of the mouse, I take my hand off the mouse. And when I get to the clip spot, I just hold W, and when I go past it, when I'm like, this is gonna be an attempt. Like I didn't get it. So then I let go of W and I hold D. So I go back here and then attempt again. And I just alternate between W and D to re-attempt the clip. Until I get it. So it's recommended to see it like, oh, it's perfectly set up. It's perfect setup. It works. Like that was first attempt. Oh, that was like second try. I like this setup. I think it's good, but it's not 100% consistent because it depends on like when you bop to the right. So you don't have to go that far. Like the cursor doesn't have to pass that wall. Like that was almost a clip. Almost a clip. But I find it easier if the cursor does go past like that. Because it didn't earlier, but like when you see the cursor go past from this wall to this wall, like this line. So when you purposely make sure that the cursor goes past it, I find it to be easier. Like that. So this clip is kind of weird. Like sometimes the setup is really good. Like I get it within 5 tries several times in a row. Other times it takes like 20 attempts. So the setup is just like a general setup. It's not 100% consistent, unfortunately. But I do think it's good. I would recommend it to people. So when you load into this area, you don't move. You just look all the way down, and then you can probably try this line too. I go in between, like where the blue line meets this gray line, like here. But it's probably gonna work just the same if I place my cursor here. So let's attempt that now with a slightly different angle. I'm sure this is gonna work just the same. I'm sure it's gonna work the same. I'm just being a bit unlucky. Yep, there you go. So there's no like god angle to use. I just find that if I look at this blue line, then it helps. Oh, that was close. You can see like how much he bops against the wall. And if he's like halfway clipped, then it's like, oh, that was a close attempt. There we go. And it's important to not move the camera when you're like in the middle of the clip, because that can cancel it. So I'll show the other method now, which is easier, which I used to do. I guess I can recommend this one to beginners because it's consistent. So you just jump on top of the railing, and then you jump here, and then you get into this corner, and then you look towards this pillar, and you wait until the camera goes from shaky to like calm, like this. So you're holding sprint and W, and when I think it's like I think it's actually the right, to the bottom right, so like that's bottom left, it goes up, bottom right, up, bottom left. I think when it hits bottom right, you turn left. I haven't done this in a while. Okay, so it's when you turn, it's when it goes to the left. Yeah. So I also let go of sprint. I wasn't completely sure if that was what I did, so I had to check with my muscle memory. I guess I'm gonna make a save right here. Okay, so when it gets to this point, this calm thing, bottom left, let go, look left, hold W. You can do it in such a slow fashion if you want to. It's just to show that it's consistent. So that's bottom left, I let go, I turn towards this wall, and I hold W. And that'll pop me through. So that is 100% consistent if you follow those rules. But that thing, it's not 100% consistent at all. So in order to get into there, you look towards the door. And once you get in here, then you look a bit left. And it's the bottom left one. Let go. Look towards this wall. Hold W. That's it. So it's way easier. It's of course slower than the other strat. So this is what happens if you don't let go. You won't be able to clip. So let go and then W. And don't run, just walk. Just let go of sprint. So that method is slower than this clip, but this clip is so inconsistent that you're gonna save time with this most of the time. But there you go, that's both of those clips covered. So here I like tap, like left and right. So I go down a little bit and I click the door. So grab and right click to push the gate away. Jump on top of these pillars to get away from the water, because the water will slow you down. You can see my movement speed goes from 4.23 or something to, let's see what's in the water. In the water it's 3.4, yeah. 3.4 to 3.8. So you make your way into this room, and then because you're doing the awesome category Quitouts, I recommend doing a Quitout, Alt F4. But, well, okay, so my cursor was down here. No. So don't move the cursor when you're doing this, because that can affect the main menu. But yeah, you just spam enter to continue. So now you just made a save. So if you fall out of the map, you can just reload with exit and continue. I'm gonna use F4 and F5. Or maybe I'll use this just to prove a point. Because like you're not allowed to use the developer tools in your run. But in this category, you can actually just make safety saves as much as you want. So you get into this corner and you jump and tap W, so you're all the way against the corner. So you can make a safety save now, Alt F4, and then just enter spam. And you want to look right here at this tip, but it's like slightly down and slightly left of the tip. So you can see the tip is like here, it's slightly to the left of it. So I look here. You hold sprint and then you hold W and A. That'll pop you through. But oh no, I fell out of the map. Do not do Alt F4 because that will save. So what you can do is just escape, double tap to exit, and just spam continue. And because you only count, because we don't count loading times, you only lose a couple of seconds when you save. So this is the visual cue. It's not the tip, but it's like here, slightly down and slightly left of the tip. Jump and tap W. Look here, hold sprint and W and A. You can see my input display. And what I like to do is just like tap and let go. Let's see. Oh, scary, scary. I guess it is closer to the tip. But it's not exactly on it, but it's very close to it. There we go. So I recommend just tapping and letting go, so you don't move too far. And then here you can make another safety save if you want. I'm just going to use F4 because I'm making a tutorial, not doing a run. This thing right here can push you away. Wow, of course I get it first try now. Like that, it can kind of prevent you from going all the way up. And it's super annoying, and the only way to get past it is to get a lot of boosts in a row. Otherwise it will just push you away. Sorry that my mouse wheel is loud, but you'll just have to deal with it. So yeah, you can also boost into this corner, but it's a bit riskier because you can easily get boosted like out of the map. I tried messing around with this and it was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But then I got a back boost and I fell down. So I still think this pillar is fine. But if you get stuck up there, just go down and retry. So what you're boosting up is not really this pillar, but it's this pillar right here. So it's the wall you can't see between these two walls. That's the one you're boosting up for the most part. And if you can get the other pillar too, then that's great. Oh, there we go. So once you make it up here, you can also make another save. Again, it's just Alt F4 and spam continue. And you just move around this thing. Don't go too far left, but it's not that bad. You jump on top of this thing. Now, I recommend, I'm actually going to make a save over here. So I do not recommend the long boost. So this used to be, or I guess it's still known as the easy method, but trust me, it is not easy. Well, the boost is easy, but it has a huge risk, and that is a back boost. So essentially you do that and it's like, oh, well that was easy, and I'm up here, and then I just go down here. And yeah, you probably take fall damage, but it's not that big of a deal. But the problem with that wall is, if I use fly camera I can show it, as also draw physics. This wall is like rugged, I guess, or rigid. I don't know what word I'm looking for. I can't find it, but it's not straight. It's kind of rough. So you can get a back boost on your way up this wall, and that's the big issue. If this wall was a lot more straight, and if this thing wasn't poking out, then it would have been way easier. But the wall is so short, and it has these spikes coming out of it, that you can get a back boost, so you can get boosted backwards and fall into the void. Which is why I don't recommend using this strat. You can get a really high boost, and you can like land at a bad spot and then get boosted out. There's a lot of things that can happen. You should definitely practice this area a lot. It's really easy to land on this. That was really silly. Help me. But yeah, if you don't boost quick enough, you can kind of get like this situation. I recommend just going back down and then trying again and chaining boosts. So there I got a boost to the side. And like when you land on top of here, you should also just like check this out with the draw debug. You're standing on top of this thing, but you can like hit the corner of it and get boosted out. So you can like land like on the side and then get boosted into the void. So I don't recommend this boost. It's easy to do the boost. Oh my god! See, so a lot of things can happen with this boost. It's pretty wild. I'm being a bit careless. Oh. So the boost itself is not that hard to pull off, but it's landing on top of here that can be tricky, because this wall is very close to you, so it can like push you out, or you can go back and bounce really easily. So I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. It's inconsistent. Like, it's easy to pull up, but it's very inconsistent. That's the main thing. Now the other, like, there are several ways you can do this part. You can also do something that's I don't like this one at all. I have practiced it in the past. I don't even remember how to do this properly. I think you like do a late, I think you do like a short jump here, and you clip back in bounds. But I forget where you're supposed to look for this. It's like somewhere along this wall you can clip back in bounds. I can maybe do this instead, and then go back in bounds like this. And then this wall is basically just a paper wall, so you can just do that, and then you can boost your way alongside here. But that strat is pretty stupid in my opinion, because you start at ground level, so you're starting to boost up this thing from here, and if you just miss one or two boosts, then you'll fall down. What I do recommend doing is to, from this point on, you jump over here, past this mushroom, past this line, or about at this line. So you jump here, and then you start to boost. And what can happen is that you get stuck like that. But I mean, for a few, like 5-6 seconds, I was not standing on anything solid. I was just boosting, and I went under this thing. And I was like, but I still managed to make it back up, because there's a lot of things you can boost off of this wall. So it's actually pretty safe, even though it looks really scary and the void is right there. But this is actually the most consistent way of doing sewers, with a little practice. And when you get into this corner, you hold you hold W and A, so you're trying to get on top of this plank. like that. And when you get on top of the plank, then you're safe. And from here on, it's easier to boost around there. Let's see, I fell down again. I'm gonna go up the plank. It's easier to boost up this thing, but I prefer to just boost up like straight forward. So I have the plank as a backup to boost like that. But it's actually slightly more consistent to boost up the right side. I'm not good at it, of course. You can see I haven't succeeded once. So from this point you jump over here. You spam boosts, so that can happen if you go too far left or if you don't get any boosts going. But what I like to do is just to spam, or to not stop. I just jump, jump, and jump, because then it's way easier to make it across, in my opinion. If you stop at this corner here, I mean, you don't have that much space to stand on, and you don't have any momentum, so you have to build it up again. It's easy to not jump far enough. But of course, with good enough boosts and with good angles, then you can pull it off just fine. But I find it to be more consistent if I don't stop. But of course, if I do good jumps on my way there. I'm a bit careless now. So that was a short jump. Well, I guess I just looked too far. I jumped too early. But yeah, I turn my camera here and do A and W, so I get on top of the plank, and from there on it's just forward boosting. So I have a video on how to practice this, but essentially this is just what I keep doing. I do these exact inputs. Oh, I was falling down. Uh-oh, am I dead? No, because as long as I keep boosting, and I will get on top of this plank eventually. So it's actually not that, it's actually kind of difficult. Well, how should I put this? It's easier than it looks, actually. Like when I don't get on top of this plank, like as I'm falling down here, like but just keep at it. You can see it's perfectly fine. I didn't void out. As long as you keep boosting fast enough, you will reach this plank eventually. So you can stop if you want to. You can stop on this one if you like. That's not bad. The problem is stopping on this little thing. So you can do this if that helps you. So I guess you don't really jump past the mushroom. You jump like here, so like at the mushroom, and make sure that you jump high enough up on the wall. So if you land here, like low on the wall, if you're landing here, then you're probably not going to be able to boost up, because you don't really. It's like this curved wall that you're boosting up, not this straight one right here. So make sure that you don't land too low to the ground. Like that. And then you look towards the plank, and then you turn the camera. And you know, if you get some good boosts going, then you can get a lot of height chained up. Now here there's like a slight little dent. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, it's like this thing, and it can push you off. So make sure that you jump on top of this and then jump around, or you can do this thing, which I don't really recommend because it's kind of slim. But you can just walk across here. The problem is if you run towards the left a bit, then this thing can push you out of bounds, like push you to the right so you fall down. But you can essentially just walk across on this tiny little seam, this tiny edge. Like this thing, you can just walk across it. But that, excellent, I'm glad it happened. So that's what can happen, because it's really close to the wall, so the game can easily push you out if you're not being careful. It has like traps for you, you know. But what I recommend doing is just to jump here and then jump around. It's not hard at all. Just make sure you jump on top of here. If you don't, then the jump can get eaten and you can fall down like that. So jump here, you hit this thing, you walk a bit and then jump. You don't even have to jump, I think, and you can just walk around. Or maybe you do need to jump. I'll try. Yeah, okay, so you do need to jump, but you walk a bit and then you jump. If you jump right away, then it's too early, so you need to jump again. Either like do a double jump like that, or walk and jump around. And once you're past that thing, then you're good to go. Like the rest is simple. You just follow the center of the ceiling. Center, 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 center. Land on top of this thing. This is really small, so you might get boosted down there, but you can boost back up if that happens. But here it's also bad to stop here because you want to carry some momentum with you. So I think I might be screwed. Yeah, but like if you keep momentum, you'll land on top of this thing and then boost across here. But if you fall down, it's no big deal because you can just get on top of the stairs, get up here, and boost. It's perfectly fine. You can jump on top of this thing, boost over here. I like to do W and A, like a side boost, like side jump kind of thing there. And then do a full jump over this thing. It's kind of a tall wall. Click the ladder and you'll clip through, and then you look up or down and you spam jump. Because jump is also interact, like the up and down is jump, but one or the other is interact also. Alright, so for Nave, you just go straight forward. You clip through like the left part of the center of the beam, and this is the same as like some rock clips and like the shelving and storage. Well, not really shelving and storage, but like the goo in Refinery or like the rocks. Just you hold sprint, you spam jump, but you also do a little bit of crouching. So just keep practicing. This can be, I mean, I spent like a good minute or like a minute and a half trying to get this clip. Other times it happens quickly like that. And once you make it up here, you want to look toward, you can see these like beams. That's a beam, that's a beam, beam, and a beam. You look towards the last one, this one right here. And you place yourself kind of in the center of the ceiling. So this is left, you know, right, and like, oh, this is the center. So you stand in the center and then you look towards the edge of that beam and you run forward. And what will happen is that your movements, this thing will catch you and you will not take fall damage. And if you look too far left, so like here, then this would have given me damage. I'm using F4 and F5, so I'm not taking damage, but that would have been fall damage. But it's not that bad if you look too far left, because then you can boost over here, because your goal is to go around here anyway. But you can take fall damage here again. Like that could have also been 10 damage. So you can like try to same trick as in the Cellar Archives, where you can like boost as you're falling down to slow you down so you don't take fall damage. You could have done that. Like you can do that there. And if you look too far right, then you'll just take fall damage. I mean, I won't in this example, but that'll just be boom. You land here, take a lot of damage. This thing will not save you. So, I mean, you can also just aim for it, but it's kind of hard to see down there. So that's why this is a good visual cue. I guess I probably look a bit right of it. I just have a feel of where I need to look. I guess that was too far right. So you can see you kind of like hit it, and then your descent is kind of slowed down immediately. So if you get that, then you won't take damage. These jumps are pretty simple. You can just take your time with them. Jump around. You can move forward a bit. You don't have to stop, but if you want to, then it's a bit easier perhaps. Forward, jump around. And then this part is really important because a lot of people get this wrong. So your goal is to get from here over here, like from this point to this point. People run here and they jump. Then they hit this and they get like back boosted and they void out. And then they go, what the fuck? And there's a safe spot. So you can see this line right here. This means that it's safe to stand here. I'm standing on invisible flooring. So don't go all the way out there and try to jump across. There's no reason. There's no need to. You can just walk across. And then here, you just boost up here. It's that simple. But a lot of people don't know about this. So as I'm making a tutorial now, I want to make sure that it's pointed out right away so people don't miss it. So you just, you know, if you keep moving forward, then you'll eventually lose the floor. But if I jump here, and then then you'll fall down. But if you do it on the left side, you're good. You can do a single jump, or maybe two jumps, and you'll make it across. Really simple. Now, another important thing. These things are notorious for oh my god, English. These things are notorious, I can't say that word, for knocking you out of bounds. So if you land on top of them, they will boost you like that. So they can boost you off the map really easily. So what you want to do is jump in between them. So jump here, jump here, jump here, here. Don't land on them, but past them. Now you can do this jump around like this, and I am still to this day really bad at this jump. I turn too quickly or too late and I don't hit the door. Like I do this and it's like, okay, that was actually good. I do this and it's like, no, I missed the door. That happens a lot. Or I do it too quickly and that happens and I fall down here. This takes a little bit of practice. What I can recommend is to look really far down, because then you can see the door frame for the entirety of the jump. And even if you don't land here, like I don't actually recommend landing here because you may take fall damage. So it may be best to not take fall damage, but just be able to click the door. So like that and click the door. I actually clicked, I didn't mean to click. I was trying to just fake click, but I actually did click it. That's okay, I can just go back and load my last quick save. Oh yeah, I need to go back a split technically. Not that this matters, it's just to show that it works. So you can see that the timer at the bottom is my real-time timer, and the main timer is the in-game time, so, or without loads. So it's important to set that up so you can actually get an accurate time. But you can also go here and we'll clip down here. I don't usually do this strat, but it's like, yeah, you crouch. Okay, that's it. So, oh yeah, I was thinking that might have been at my F5. So it does the last save. F5 does the last save. So I'm gonna hit F4 again to make a new one. So if you hit crouch, you may take damage, but it's possible to save yourself by like boosting on top of it, like boosting something on your way down. So then you can fall down here and just click the door normally. So you don't have to do that scary jump if you have trouble with it. And you can also pick up this now. This is like another bonus potion that I recommend people to get, like people getting. So either do the jump around or go down here, crouch, and then I guess you can land on top of this to avoid fall damage. And then if you do this, then you get the potion now, and then you go into that door. So I'm going to do the jump around, look all the way down, it's easier for me, and click the door. Choir entrance. No, go back. Okay. So yeah, you just jump forward here. You don't need to jump, but here is recommended to do like some small jumps left and right. You can hit your floor in the ceiling, but it's possible that, like, which will slow you down, but you can get some boosts on the stairs, so it's worth it. Alright. So, choir. So for this part of the run, it's a lot different than no quitouts. You can do boosts here by jumping like that. You like land at the edge of it, or you can just jump like this. You get a small boost. If you practice it, you can get a lot of horizontal boost, which will speed up your movement here by a few seconds. So you can get this laudanum right here for extra help. And then I prefer to jump on top of this thing, and then the corner and then around. It's not needed, but this jump is really hard in my opinion. Like that jump right there, because it's like so high up you barely make it. So I'm just gonna show you quickly. I mean, this is a tutorial for quitouts and not no quitouts. But for no quitouts, you would go over here and do a gap jump, which is really hard. Which I get first try easily. Wow. I did not expect that. But yeah, you can do a gap jump in no quitouts and go for orb number 2, which is over there. Or you can do the pipe boost, which we will be doing. So in this category, you pick up the orb and the orb is, you're facing the correct way because the door is this way, so you just Alt F4, and then you load warp out of choir, and then you turn around and go back into choir immediately. And now you do the pipe boost, or I guess you can do a gap jump. I think gap jump is still faster. Oh my god, what was that? I like, the gravity like changed there. So yeah, pipe boost, I guess I shouldn't just like do a run. So you just go into this pillar and you just boost up. You don't need to hold shift. It's pretty straightforward. You just do a straight, like a simple boost, and then you run along the pipe. So the gap jump is over there. Maybe it's faster to do gap jump if you do like some good horizontal boosts. But the goal is to get over here. So the pipe boost is easier, it's safer, and for this category it's in particular, I'm not even sure if it's faster than gap jump. I think they're like very equal. So it's just recommended to do the pipe boost too, because gap jump is awful. It's, even the best players have bad days with that trick. It's not a fun trick. Well, I guess it's really fun, but it's really hard to pull off consistently. It is a really hard trick. And when you have to get it first try, like when the options are first try or death, then yeah, it's not fun. So I like to crouch here to pick up this orb. You can get some boosts in the, like from the door frame if you jump at the right time, just like in earlier parts of the run. You can get a boost there. It's a bad one. So here it might be a good idea to jump on top of this thing and then jump up here. Oh my god, that was scary. Because you can fall down really easily here if you just run forward. You can like mess up some boosts and just fall into the void. So you can jump here, stop, boost up here, and then go forward, or you can just go straight forward. But it's kind of like, if you miss the jump here, then you might die. So the reason why we clip out here is to skip a flashback. And a monster trigger, I guess. It's always good to skip flashbacks, but I'm just going to give you some options. So I probably should have done this earlier in the run, because I wanted this to be sort of a beginner thing. But you can always do, like in most rooms there are other options. They will lose you time, but it's not like you have to do this and that trick to do the run. So I'm going to show you what's recommended, and then I can show you like the easy thing, like the slow, just as a emergency, like if you really don't get it, and like if it's like your first run, or you know, if you're just trying this out, then you don't have to do the hardest tricks all the time. So there's a good setup for this by Rabs, which is in the TDD videos only channel. You line up the bottom of the camera like this, and you hold W and D, and you just jump, and you will clip through like that. Another method is to just kind of go for it like this, and you're clipping inside of it and then to the left of it. Like that's how it kind of works. But like that. But it's not super consistent. Another strat is to just get in this general area and then look towards one of the cages over here. Like this one is good, and then you hold S and then you do jump. If you go past the wall, then you go back at it and try again. I guess the furthest left one is a little bit better to look at. Like that. So that clip is just like the one I showed you in Morgue. So mess around with all three strats and do the one that you find to be the most consistent. Make sure that you stop holding S, otherwise you're gonna fault the map. Here you can do a jump around, but if you miss it, then you fall down. So that's not good. What you can do instead is just do a jump here and then just look into the corner a little bit. And this clip is a bit slow. Like, I think you need to yeah, you should do an extra jump. I should have made a save. Make a save here. So you jump, look into the corner, and then jump again. Jump, look down, right, jump. So if you do it quickly, then it's pretty much just as fast as doing the jump around. The thing with the jump around that I like to point out is that if you do the right turn too quickly, then you'll get stuck. You have to do another one. Like, oh, scary, scary, and then you hold forward and like, oh, I can't move forward, so you do another one. So, like, you get stuck behind this little pillar. Because you need to do a bit of a slow turn, like that. If you do it too quickly, then you gotta do another one, because I'm moving forward, nothing's happening, so I gotta do another jump. And it can be a little bit scary, so that's the alternative. Just jump, look down right, and then jump again as soon as you land. Like that. And that's the strategy we'll do for the next one, except you don't have to jump again, you only jump once. This wall is way easier to go through. Now, this one has like a boost up here, which is really hard, like boosting off of this wall, I think. And then, like, as you're making your way, you start the boost there and then, yeah, like that. So you start the boost on that wall and you catch yourself here and continue. That's the fastest one, but it's a little bit hard to do, because this might happen. Luckily you can stand here, so if that happens you could just go here and do this boost instead. But I recommend to just jump towards the door frame. Make sure that you don't hold sprint once you reach the door frame, because like I mentioned earlier, door frames want you to go back in bounds. And we don't want that, so you jump here, you let go. You can see that the camera starts to shake. You turn around, because when you so if you pay attention to my movement speed, right now it's 0.0000. If I hold forward it's 2.5. If I hold backwards it's -2. Well, the minus is that you're going the other way. But forward is 2.5, backwards is 2. So that means Daniel moves slower backwards than he does forward, which is good, otherwise it would have been like an Ocarina of Time thing all over again. But that means, because when you're running towards a door frame, it will clip you back in bounds. If you walk towards the door frame, it'll be harder, but it's still possible, I think. I'm pretty sure it's still possible to click back in bounds, but it's harder. But if you back walk into it, I think it might not be possible to click back in bounds if you're backing up against a door frame. If it is, then I wouldn't be super surprised, but it's way harder for me now to clip back in bounds if I'm just holding S and having my back turned against it. So when you're doing this boost, you obviously need to hold against one of these walls, and like this part, like this, the door frame is good, and like this, the wall to the left of it. But if you hold forward like this, especially if you hold sprint, then that can happen. So I highly recommend turning around, and you can hold sprint if you want, but I don't really recommend it, because you can get clipped back in bounds. You can just mess around with door frames to see like how they work. So I recommend just turning around, just doing S and spamming jump. There's no reason to hold sprint. The boost doesn't. You don't boost any faster by holding sprint. So that's the strat I recommend doing. You jump around, turn around, and then you do S or D if you need to adjust, and then boost up. Now from this point on, there's like 2 strats you can use, or like 3. The old school one is just to jump here, but that can happen. It can be a little bit tricky to hit this floor. The reason why I don't like this one is because the wall here is curved, or like the floor, or like the ceiling technically, so you can actually not get a jump off at all if you jump too late. You can kind of slide off. You can see how Daniel kind of quickly moves forward as he's like sliding down the side like that. So you need to jump early, but if you jump too early, then you won't really get anywhere and you'll hit yourself on the ceiling. And for the jump itself, if you hit the corner, you'll clip back in bounds, like what just happened. And if you don't turn quick enough, then you won't be able to land there at all. So that is the fastest thing, to just jump down here. However, I found a method that's easier, which is just like to let go of sprint and you hold forward and just kind of go back and forth slowly like this until you drop down on top of the door frame, and then you move on top of this thing. Now do be a little bit careful here, because you can clip back in bounds if you like run towards this direction, or yeah, I think it's this direction of course, because you stand on top of the door frame. So there's a door frame right now, so if you're like moving this way, you can pop back in. But you can combat this by doing a little jump right there. But there's a lot of walls around you, so you might get boosted a little bit, so it can be a bit scary. So what I prefer to do is just look left and right, drop down, and then I just hold W and I don't hold sprint until I get on top of the white pillar. And from here you can do a jump around, and now you have a lot more control because you're a lot closer to the wall. To the floor, I mean. If you find yourself shaking a bit like this, then I recommend to not continue, because you can get popped back in bounds. So just kind of look a bit more left to like force yourself on top of it. But from here you have a few options. So you can do the jump around like I said, or you can just run. You don't need to jump at all. This is preferred for me. And this is the method I prefer because this thing is completely flat, so there's no risk of having a jump be eaten or anything, or like having a slide off thing like that. It's like the wall can have you do a slide off like this plank, but you won't like slide off this thing really. It's completely flat, so it'll just drop straight down. Whereas with this thing, it's curved, so you will get a slide if you jump at the wrong time. You also don't have to hold sprint. You can just walk forward. It's a little bit trickier though, because actually you might need to jump if you're not holding sprint. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since I haven't held sprint for this thing. Okay, it's still possible to not hold sprint, but it's way harder. Like that. I recommend holding sprint and W and just doing that, or jumping. But of course if you jump, then you have more momentum coming down, so if you hit a bad spot, then you can have a worse result. But it's kind of up to you. Definitely sprint and hold forward. If you jump or not, it's kind of up to you. And then these things can push you out of your way, so I'll try to purposely get pushed off. As long as you're looking towards the wall enough, then you should be fine like this. You will kind of get stuck at some points, but just move a little bit away from it. But if you don't look far enough, then these things may push you out. It's kind of depends on how your camera is as you're running. So here's the orb. It's recommended to crouch to grab it, because it's kind of like barely reachable. So but if you crouch, you need to uncrouch before you do anything else. And then you look left, and this is the cardinal direction of the door. May seem like it's over there, but the door is over here. So you do Alt F4, arrow key down twice, spam enter, hold left mouse button, and there you go. And then here you do Alt F4 again, and you do another Loadwarp. It'll save like a second or two. So if you didn't get the potion, then you should get it now. So always good to have a backup. So there's a lot of strats you can do here. I do not recommend using this one, like the old school one, which is you get in like this corner. And as you can see, this pillar is kind of wonky. So you get here, hold D and shift, you clip in here, get in this little corner, and then you do a really long boost up here. Oh, I stopped too early. Like that. And then I guess I can just stop here. I don't recommend doing that one because it's the same as the one in sewers. It's inconsistent. You can get pushed out. Like when you're doing this long boosts, then you can, like here you can click back in bounds really easily. You can also fall down again, and like you can get pushed to the side and fall down like that. So I'll try to show off getting getting yeah, that can also happen because the floor isn't really, it doesn't extend far. I don't want to make a save because I don't want to, like here you can click back and bounce, but I'm not getting it. I'm getting the other one when I fall off. So I don't recommend that one, but I recommend this one, which is getting into this corner, just tapping, and then the visual cue here you can like use, Proof has a different visual cue than I do. I haven't done this in a while, so I don't even remember. I think it's like here, but I like to use this one. No, I think Proof uses this one, and I used to use this one. It was either this corner or that corner, so I'm just gonna check. Okay. So I think I'm just gonna make a save here. Get in the corner, just tap to make sure you're all the way in. I think Proof uses this visual cue. It may be this one instead. Yeah, sort of, something like that. Maybe it's this one. Okay, no, that was too far left. So I guess it's this one. Ooh. Or slightly more right. I don't know. The one I use is, I mean, his visual cue is perfectly fine. I don't use it, so I'm not really familiar with it. But I like to look down for these sort of clips, so I use this black box, this black, like these two squares, and it's this corner right here that I use. Oops. So top right, and then you can let go of W if you want. I'm gonna make a save here. You can let go of W after the clip, but you need to let go really quickly, and it can be a little bit hard to judge when you've done the clip or not. So I did the clip, but I'm barely about to fall off. So it's kind of tricky, but what I recommend doing is do a jump like that, because that means you don't need to let go of W. And if you look at the same spot each time you do runs, like you always look here, or you always look with the correct visual cue over here. So you should check his tutorial out for that, because I keep doing this one the wrong way because I haven't looked at it in forever. If you keep doing the same one each time, you can always expect the same result. So you know that, okay, after 0.5 seconds I will clip every single time. Like, you won't have like this thing and then suddenly you will clip. You know that, okay, I run into the wall and I clip like exactly a certain amount of time after running into the wall. So what I probably do is that I get a little bit scared, so I jump early. So I'm gonna set it up again. But yeah, I do recommend doing a little jump, because then you can turn your camera as you're jumping and you can save yourself. So this looks scary because, oh, there's no floor here, but with a little bit of practice this is not bad at all. Like, these camera flicks are not hard. It just takes a little bit of practice and you're good to go. And I might even do some like you can see on my display what I do. Kind of make sure Daniel moves to the left after the clip and after the jump. So from here, it's really easy to boost up these rocks. It's so easy that I can actually take damage there, so be careful. Same thing here, don't jump on these, otherwise you'll get a back boost like that. Here you can jump on top of this thing, which will be slightly higher than this ceiling. Slightly higher than this. And then from there you can jump on top of this thing and boost up here. But it is a little bit tricky because you can just barely reach this thing. So it's easier to boost up this thing, which is similar to the one in sewers when we were first out of bounds. So you boost like that. I recommend doing this one because it's easier. And then from here, you jump onto this part, so this little wall can be in the way. As you can see, I'm holding right, but nothing's happening, so I get on top of this one. And then I clip in here. I just hold forward and jump. It's not even a clip, it's just you jump above the wall. But here, you just hold a little bit left of the center between that pillar and that pillar. So this is the center, you just go a little bit left and just hold forward and you'll clip through. And then here there's another boost you can do, like a vertical, horizontal boost. If not, then you can just go all the way around if you want. Jump here. Ah, of course, another crash. I'm actually happy this is happening, because I would have forgotten about it otherwise. So the same thing that happened in Cistern Entrance, if you use F4 and F5 in certain areas of the game, then you will crash. But if you load game like I just did, and then you hit F5, then you're perfectly safe. I mean, this is not going to be a problem for runs, because you're not allowed to use these tools during the run. But if you're practicing and you're wondering why you're crashing, then that's the reason. And it's like when you look towards Agrippa and you use F4 and F5, that seems to trigger it, but I'm not even 100% sure. So for practicing Nave specifically, like Cistern Entrance and Nave, make sure that you go back to the main menu, load, and then you can hit F5 as many times as you want, but go back to the main menu. So that's why those crashes occur. So yeah, if you don't want to do that boost, you can jump all the way around. You can go here, jump on top of this thing, the door frame, and then drop down. This one is not bad. If you fall down, like there's a void here. It's not like covering the whole thing, I think. It might be actually. Yeah, so this thing is actually this thing is actually very accurate. But yeah, you can fall down here, but even if you miss that boost and you fall down here, it's no big deal because you just jump like that. But this floor extends, like this ceiling, I mean, extends a bit out of bounds. So you can see that extends a little bit far outwards. So you don't have to land exactly on the inside of this. So I think it's worth to go for this one, and then just if you mess it up, then you can probably save yourself by like landing here, and then jumping around here, or you can like save yourself by going here. So I think I said a bit too far forward. It's kind of a weird little boost. But like that can happen if you mess it up. So if you don't want to take that risk, then you can go around that way, or you can sort of jump on top of it and jump right here, like around that thing right away. And then there you go. So it's like not a big deal. It's just a small time save. Now this room differs from no Quitouts because we can skip this first flashback. So this flashback trigger is pretty huge. Is this rectangle? It covers the whole room, all the way. It's kind of funny how it covers. I think it does at least. Let me double check. Of course, boosts are harder with draw physics on. That's just how it works. There we go. I think it covers all the way. It doesn't cover all the way, but Daniel's hitbox will hit this. So on the left side, you cannot avoid it. However, on the right side, it's possible to avoid it. So you can just immediately go in here, like in between the pillar and the door frame, or you can run around like this, a little bit easier. So you boost on top of the pipe, and then you can see how that rectangle is we're getting closer to it, and then for some reason on the right side there's a little gap. So make sure that Daniel's circle is not hitting it, so you make sure you're all the way up against this wall, and you can just barely scrape past it. But as you can see, if I go slightly left, I think that was enough. Oh, yeah, then you hit it. So you need to be all the way up against the wall, and the trigger is pretty short, so you can count the pillars as a visual cue. As soon as this straight wall begins, like this is a straight wall, so it's just like, oh, that's pillar number 1 from the straight wall, and it's safe. So I'm gonna do it without physics. I can boost here, waiting for the straight wall. Here's the straight wall. Just hug it, and you're good to go. And you can also get a little boost by the edges there, but it's kind of hard. So you open this door. This is a heavy door, so you might need to use some more space on your mouse pad to open it quickly. That one too, like all these doors. This orb is really weird. Like you cannot grab it here all the time. Like this is a dead zone, but up here it's consistent. So you should crouch and grab it from the top. And because the trigger was really short, it was long, but it was not wide. Or I guess the other way around, depending on how you look at it. The trigger is over there, there's no triggers here, so we can just run straight across. Still completely skipping that flashback trigger. I mean, the only reason we can skip it, I mean, I guess you can technically go back, use the pipe here and go back around again for no quitouts, but it wouldn't be faster. At least I don't think, which I assume that's why people don't use it. But since we're quitting out, we can just load warp. So this orb piece is right here, and you can actually click through these cabinet frames. So you can see the door, the orb is right here. So you can click through this thing, or you can open if you have a hard time picking it up. Your sanity gets drained really quickly in these rooms. If you look at the sanity, it says 38.1037. It goes down really quickly. Even if you're looking at the lights. And I don't want my sanity to be too low. So I'm gonna make sure that I reload some saves so I don't hit the floor. So yeah, I have a consistent clip, a consistent setup for this clip, but it's very simple. The setup list method is very consistent. You do the same thing as in Choir, like the Rabs thing I talked about. You hold A and W and you pop through. It's very simple. Or you can just hold W and just move the camera like this. And you might clip past it, or you don't clip past it. Like, it's really easy to clip past this pillar and that one. Like, you can just go straight through. Let's see. Kind of like that. So you want to like use that clip to your advantage and move forward, so you clip in here. And it's barely possible to fall down here. Like, you can see my hitbox is still touching like here, even though I'm all up against this wall. So only if I jump I'll fall down. Or further out, I think. No, okay, it's the same thing. So if I jump, I'll fall, but that's it. Because my hitbox changes a little bit when I jump. So don't be afraid to fall off here. It's not going to happen. Like as you're like clipping, like oh shit, there's no floor, but you won't fall down. As long as you don't jump, you won't fall down. So you can just run here as much as you want. Pretty much, you're not gonna fall down. So you just go around the corner, and then here I do recommend jumping. I used to think this was safe to like just hug it like this, and then go around. And you can see you're barely able to hold on. Like this is video games at its best, when it's like my character's feet are hovering above the void, but my hitbox is fine. I'm still technically on the map. As you go closer to the left, you can see that the circle gets covered more and more. But for this initial jump, it's a little bit better to jump and then move forward. So I used to just walk straight forward, but if you walk too far left, that will happen. So it's best to just do a little jump and then move left. The optimal thing, of course, would be to just jump left like this. But if you're a little bit scared, you can move more and more right. So what I like to do is just jump here and then land, and see, it's pretty easy to fall down. So just don't stop moving, because if you stop moving like I just did, then there's a high chance you won't make it. So I don't know, maybe it's best to just jump left. Okay, it's definitely okay. Never mind everything I just said. Well, I explained it, but definitely jump left, because as I showed earlier, like the circle is barely covering the thing. No, the thing is barely covering the circle, the floor. But the further left I go, more of it is covered, which means that the further left I jump initially from the spot, the safer this jump will be. So jump left, for sure. and then just keep moving around. This one is way easier. You see it gets smaller and smaller, but at this point you have this wall to, or this floor to support you. So I'm gonna turn off the physics now. So you just, here I would recommend to do, just like hug this thing. And then you boost up, not the plank, but the cobblestone pillars. And sometimes it's really easy like that, other times you get like this thing, and you're like, oh for fuck's sake, and then you go to the next one, and then that one doesn't work either, so you just go to the next one. Like, they're all the same, but if you get stuck, you just keep running and try for the next one. And until you finally make it up here. Here you can accidentally clip back and bounce with the door frame, but you should use the door frame to slow your momentum. It's hard to clip back and bounce, it will not happen most of the time. It's very safe. I guess if you just run towards it with a really bad angle, it can happen. Like there, that was probably close. But yeah, you use it to slow you down, or you can also slow yourself down by same trick as before. You drop down here and then you boost against the wall to slow your momentum. That also works, and that's safer, I guess. You remove not that one, not that potato sack, but this sack. You crouch and click the orb. You do a 180 because that's the door. And you do a Loadwarp. Hold the left mouse button, of course, during the loading screen. And there you go. Now it's time for Nave 3. And if you don't do this quick enough, then the camera will start to shake, and you may need to wait for this to be over, because it's kind of hard to see your visual cue when the camera is doing this. So if you get into this corner, you can do like a tap thing. It's not that precise. And then my visual cue for this, do I have any tinderboxes? Okay. Well, my sanity is good. Every time you solve a puzzle, your sanity goes up, so it's no big deal. So the setup for this is, I mean, you can use different visual cues. The one I use is I look at this little thing right here, and when you're standing so far away, your cursor will be the size of this one pixel, like this one square, and I place it like in between this square to the next of it and the square itself. So it's like a puzzle piece coming together inside that thing. So just like that. Some people use a visual cue down here. I just think this one is really easy to spot, so that's one I prefer, but it's the same. You can do clips with any angle up and down, it's just left and right that matters. So what you do is that you run forward and you will clip through, and as soon as you clip, you jump and you hold, you turn your mouse to the right, your camera to the right. And it's actually very simple. You have a lot of time to do the jump. Like that was a short jump. If you jump immediately, of course, then it's too early. Oh. Also, when you reload and you hit, like, my save is saved here, but if I move the mouse during the loading screen, then that will have an effect when I finish the loading. So try to keep your mouse still if you're practicing this like that. So you look here, or I guess, let me see if I can find this one. I guess like here. Yeah, on that same like y-axis line. Forward, and then you jump and turn right. So you'll land on this thing and not fall down here. From this point, you jump over here, and then you boost up this thing. Can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes I do A plus W. Other times I just hold forward. You can do a boost here, which is really cool, and it's apparently not that bad, because even if you miss it, then you don't void out. Like there, it was looking like I was going to void out, but I didn't. The easy method is, of course, to just jump around like this, and then you don't even jump, you just drop down here. And then for this clip, if you go past, then you're barely standing on anything, but it's still safe. Oh, and I need to be careful with Agrippa, so just to be safe that I don't crash again, because I think I did F4 and F5. I'm just going to load my latest Nave save. Yeah, there we go. So you just run off, sprinting forward. You can take damage, but if you as long as you do a little jump as you're falling down, then you won't take damage. And then it helps to, you get into this little corner and then you look towards like the chains, or like a little bit left of it, and then it will pop through. It's kind of a weird click back and bounce. I don't really have a... I think it's not possible when your health is below 50. It may be possible, but I'm not sure. But we have a lot of potions, so as long as it goes to a few custom bruises, then your health is above 50 and you're all good. I'm gonna attempt the fast thing again, because I didn't get to show it off properly. You do sort of like that. And the thing is, well, I didn't mean to take damage there. With draw physics, you can see that you can actually, there's a lot of invisible flooring here. So even though you don't make it over here with that boost, you won't void out until, like, unless you hit like this part only. So it's actually not that scary of a fast horizontal boost to go for. And if you do it quickly, then that can happen, which is super fast clip. And I mean, even if that happens, you're still standing here. Let's check out how much space we have. Oh, never mind, we actually have a lot of space here. Yeah, this is super lenient. I think this is the point, yeah. So, even though you can't see any floor, there's a lot of invisible flooring to stand on. So, and even though I took damage there, that was not as much damage as before. So, I do recommend going for this actually. Like that. Because like, even if you take damage, I think that's just 10 damage. Let me see, my health is 60, and now it is 70. Yeah, it's just 10 damage. If you do take damage, then it's that one. But if you go the safe way, so to speak, and you drop down here, and you don't hug the wall, so the wall doesn't like take any health from you, then I think that might be more damage, because I went into critical health earlier. Yeah, that's more damage, so that is 40 damage, I think it was. Yeah, 40 damage, as opposed to 10. So just go for this one. And if you miss it, then it's usually no big deal. You can just boost back up here and go for this one. But try to avoid that damage right there. Just kind of nudge yourself into here. Anyway, let's continue. So for these one with the locks, just gotta keep holding it a bit. Like, the door won't open immediately, as with a standard door. So now we have all the orb pieces, so now you can activate the next chapter in the game. And that is being captured by a grunt. So the same thing as early game, you see green, you turn around. Like in old archives, you saw the pink and you turn around, so you hit that trigger. The trigger for this one has a similar visual cue. As soon as you see the green, you can turn around. Or like the light blue, the cyan or whatever. I'm just gonna speed this up, because it's just boring. Okay. So, for new players, I recommend just doing this and going. I think left and right is faster than up and down. Let me check. Yeah, I think maybe vertical, like diagonal. Yeah, so from this angle, if you move your mouse like this, then that's faster than this. And definitely faster than this. So you grab it and you go up, right, up, down, up, right, quickly, and eventually it will break loose. And then you just pick it up, jump on top of the table, sprint, jump, crouch. So this one you don't need to instantly do a crouch. There's not like a proper jump crouch. I mean, you can crouch immediately if you want to, but you just need to crouch before you hit the wall. But the faster method is to do the same, to do this jump now, and then you will break this by nudging your body towards it. And you will fall immediately and will fall down here, but it will fall in such a way that it will be lined up diagonally across the screen like this. So I look towards this general area while holding shift and forward, and I grab it. Because immediately as the bar pops off, it's covering pretty much the entire screen. So as long as you're clicking left click fast enough, then you'll grab it. But if you go too far, if you look too far left like I did there, then you won't miss it. But then I'll grab it. So you look a little bit to the right of the center, I guess. So like this is pretty much the center, so you look like here or like slightly right. You can see that for like a split second. If you just pause the video and use the frame advance feature on YouTube, you can see like for a moment it covered like a huge portion of the screen. So as long as you click fast enough, then you should be good. Let's say you don't hit it and you go past this, like oh, well usually it doesn't bounce far, so you can just grab it from the bars. If it does go any further, then you can use a chair and jump back in, pick it up and jump back out again. But that shouldn't happen. But if you want to just wiggle it loose, it's like you stand in front of this, you stand in front of the bars, and then the mouse movement is this movement, diagonally. It's a bit awkward to wiggle loose items in this game, I feel like. And once you have the bar, you use it here, you grab a chair and you just do that, because that will bend it. Pick up the key, and then from here you use 1 or 2 health potions. It's enough with 1. I recommend just using 1 at this point, because you may take more damage later on. Well, you will, for sure. And then use the key. To open this door, you can open it like this, but the best thing is to jump into this corner, grab the door, because the door will for some reason be really powerful and just knock everything away. So you don't have to remove the beam and the rocks. From here it's like left or right, it doesn't matter. If you go right, then the rocks will fall down there and you need to go left. If you go left, then it's like the route you don't choose will be open. Like the first route you initially. The first way you go will get closed off by rocks. So here you can boost back up if you want. Because you don't jump around these pillars like that to avoid the water. If you fall down into the water, it's better to just jump in the water like this. And now we're back at Nave. This is Nave Redux. I'm not sure you pronounce the word the way I just did it. I think it's like French or something, maybe? Like Redon? I don't know. Redux sounds pretty pretty weird. So for this one you can just hug the side or you can crouch under it. This door is heavy. Here, just make sure that it can be a bit awkward to move here, but just like get on top of this. Just run down here. Then run down here. Then just keep running down here. And that can happen, but like the goo. But if you land on top of the plank, then you can stop there and land on top of the torch holder and then go down and you won't take damage. But that was just 10 damage, so it's fine. From here, you jump onto the railing, but you don't jump down now because that is damage. You need to go a little bit further, hit the chest, and then go down. If you don't hit that chest, then you will take damage. This is the last potion. I don't recommend getting this one because it's so far out of the way. You can use a box to stand on top of it, because this is the potion, or you can just kind of jump and get it. But there's a chance that he'll get hit by the goo, and my health went below 50 there for a moment, so the trade-off is, it's not a good trade-off. It's not a good trade, because you may lose more health than you would. I mean, a potion heals more than 10, but it depends on the circumstances. It's also like, it's way slower, so it's not a good potion to get. Only get it if you really need it, because at the very end of the run you need to be at good health. So if you have 0 potions, then you should probably get it. But it's not like mandatory. There's a boost there you can do by hitting the side. This one is actually not that hard. And then the goo can hit you it's RNG if it hits you. See, like sometimes it hits you early on. So my health is below 50, so I should use a potion. But I can see now that it's just about to go back up to 50. Of course, you won't have this info at all times during a run. But since I can see that it's 49 and now it's 50, I don't care. So that can also hit you. So here, it's the same thing as in Choir, where we jump like this. So you just clip through really easily. So now you jump on top of this, then this, move to the edge. You can fall down here, so do be careful. And then do not, and I mean this, do not jump directly at this pointy thing. It does not work. What you do is you either jump on this side or that side, but not the corner here. So if people just jump straight forward like this, they won't make it. But if they jump on top of this and then here, they will make it. What you can do is boost off of this one and go all the way up, but it can be a little bit tricky, like that. Oh, and I can save myself. But it's just a set of easy jumps, really. I'm actually going to make sure. Okay, I have a lot of potions, but I'm going to save now so I don't use them all before I get to the end. So the easiest way is just jump on top of this one and then jump on top of this one. This will push you down a little bit. Like, it's pretty steep, so you might like slide down a little bit. But yeah, on top of this one, and then jump on top of this one or around like this, but not directly at the corner. From here, you just look all the way down, and then as soon as your camera, like as soon as the cursor hits this point, then you jump. You can jump again. I'm gonna do this one more time. So all the way up, and then this side. Really simple. So all the way down, and if you jump too late, then you fall down here. On console, you will fall all the way down. Like, let's see if I can get it on PC. I'm not sure if I can clip through here. Probably can. But on console, they removed some invisible flooring, so you fall down and you land here, underneath the tunnel, and there's no way back up. So if you're doing this on console, the route for PC is almost exactly the same. Like, I mean, the route is the same, but some clips are different. Like, you still go out of bounds in the same room, but you may do it slightly differently. For this one, I highly recommend making a safety save. If only if you're running on console. For PC, there's no reason, because like if you mess it up, then it's just you boost back up here, and then you try again. Oh, I messed up. Let's go back up. And you try again. You just keep doing that. This, however, you can make a safety save for. So here you can run towards this, Alt F4, spam continue. You lose like 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds. So it's no big deal. So if you miss this jump, like if you do this and you miss it, then you can just hit exit, spam continue, and you can retry, instead of having to void out and spawn all the way over there. So you can either jump around on this side or on this side, and if you look with the physics drawn, you have a little bit more space here than you have over here, but it's actually easier to jump on the left side, because when you're jumping on the left side here, this floor is closer to you than this floor. So I mean, it's the same really, but like in the different, like here you go further away from the wall. Like, I mean, here you can be closer to the wall, but this is further away, and it's the other way around on this one. So it's like they're pretty much the same, but this one is a little bit easier. I feel like I explained that in a really poor way, because I don't really have a good explanation for that. But these two jumps are very similar, but this one is a little bit easier because it's right next to this wall, so you're closer. You're jumping closer to this one initially. I think that's the best way to explain it. However, you don't need to do that jump. You can do a boost right here, but it's a little bit hard to pull off because this pillar isn't really the best to boost off of. And it's like this, it's this bottom right part of it and it actually is slightly easier if you have speed, I feel like that. And it's possible to avoid fall damage by like doing this, but it's pretty hard. Usually you will take fall damage like that. So you can find yourself doing this for a good while. Damage and damage. Like this damage is pretty much guaranteed. This boost can take you a little while. Like it can take like 5 to 10 seconds, all depending on pretty much the luck. Yeah, like that. And that damage it's possible to avoid, but it's hard. Like I avoided it the first time. This one I don't think is possible to avoid. So you can compare, like this can take a little bit, this can take a little bit, I got it there, but I went back. So this can take you a little time to pull off, but it's completely safe. Whereas the jump to the side is just one jump and that's it. But if you miss it, if you turn the camera too slow, I mean you can turn the camera pretty slowly and still be fine. It's not that scary as I make it out to be. But if you haven't practiced this jump in a while, then that might happen and you void out and you just spawn over there. But if you make a safety save, then it's just exit and then continue, so it's no big deal. If you turn the camera too quickly, this is the same with like every jump where you turn around. If you turn the camera too quickly, you can run into the risk of that happening. But you can, like as soon as you go past this pillar, then you can turn pretty quickly. Again, you can just check with the physics debug to see where the floor is, and it's this floor right here. And the floor is straight, so you can land here if you want, you can land here, you can land here. Doesn't really matter. I mean, if you land closer to the door, then that's great, but the important part is just getting the jump. So from here, you just drop down here. And now you can see my health is 43. So this is the part of the run where you will take damage and you need potions. So after clicking this door, you just use all your potions. There's no reason to to save this potion. Like my health is good, but I might as well just use it. There's no, just spam click until you use all the potions. There's no reason to save potions. I mean, if you have 5 potions and you only need 1 or 2, then technically, yeah, you lose time because you keep using potions. But if you just spam click, you'll use all potions really quickly. Pull this one down, otherwise the shadow is going to kill you. It's important to have a lot of health with this trick. Over 50 health is all that you need. So make sure that the screen isn't flickering with blood or anything. So for this thing, you do small clockwise circles like that in the center. That's the best tip I have. It's not really, so you can see like how the screen is kind of, it has this kind of flimmering effect. That means your health is below 50. It can be a little bit tricky to see sometimes, depending on like gamma and stuff. But when you have that kind of health, then you want to use a potion. When it says a wound is bleeding quite badly, that means it's below 50. A few cuts and bruises, 72 health, it's more than enough. The difference lies like between like below 50 and above 50. So the camera shakes a lot in this area too. I would recommend practicing this clip a lot, because imagine that you're on pace for a PB and then you get to this part and you spend like 2 minutes like, I can't clip. What am I doing wrong? No, my PB's... I'm not going to PB anymore. Oh my god, my time is... I'm losing time. And then you realize what you did wrong. Like, oh, I was looking too far left, or I was looking too far right. So I do recommend practicing this. Even though you know the strat, which is to go like this in the middle, it's not 100% consistent. As you can see, I'm not clipping right away. It takes me like a few seconds to clip, but you can also clip almost immediately. So it's like, make sure that you have a good technique, and as long as you have that technique, then it shouldn't take you longer than 5 seconds. It's about it's barely 5 seconds. On console, that is patched, so you do this instead. You look really close to the pillar, like, well, not exactly at the pillar, but like into the corner here, and that will clip you through. And this clip is easier on console than that clip is on PC. So a little trivia there. But I don't think this works on the right side for PC on this version of the game. It may be, I'm not too sure, but it definitely works on the left side. So again, small clockwise half circles. I mean, counterclockwise probably doesn't make a difference. Yeah, that was counterclockwise. But I just follow clockwise, and it seems to help. So you right click at the end of this, and then you might get a little boost here. And right click one at the end, like there. Wait, I golded my Orb Chamber? Okay, so this is a tutorial and I managed to get a gold at the last clip. I guess this is the only point where I didn't stop to like explain anything. And elevator, of course. Elevator actually saved time. Alright, so that's Amnesia, The Dark Descent. Completed in just under 3 hours. Wow. Wow. That's the 90% Quitouts tutorial. So the difference is really in just a few, like a handful of rooms. The biggest difference is choir and possibly storage. Also, I want to show off a little thing you can do. Well, you can go out of bounds in this post-credit scene and like fall out of the map if you're fast enough. But here, this is like really hard. I'm gonna make a save and attempt the chair flick. You get like 2 attempts. This is just for oh no, it doesn't work with if you toss the chair really far towards the right and you can hit those rocks, then then the rocks will break. I didn't actually know that the timer here, that F4, F5 doesn't really do anything. That kind of sucks. Anyway, it's pretty hard to do, but if you toss that chair with the instant flick technique thing, then those boulders can break, and it's just for fun. Alright, so that's the tutorial. If you have any questions, then I would say feel free to leave them below in the comment section, and of course you can do that, but the best is to just ask in the Discord server, because you'll get, you know, it will be more than just me able to help you. So I recommend checking out the Discord server first, but you can also just ask here on YouTube. I'll get back to you eventually. But definitely check out the Discord server. I'll have a link in the description.